Hey, it's Chris. Welcome to the Square One Healing Cancer Coaching Program. This is Module 1, First Things First. In this module, we're going to do some broad brushstrokes, an overview to get you started, and to change the way you're thinking about your situation, about cancer, and about your life. The very first thing you need to know is this. Cancer is a divine tap on the shoulder, and there's a message attached. And that message is, hey, the way you're living is killing you. The way you are living is killing you. Now, I'm not telling you that to make you feel bad about yourself. I'm not trying to put shame on you. What I'm telling you is now is the time to take full responsibility for your life. One of the most important things I did after my cancer diagnosis was to be honest with myself and say, well, maybe this is my fault. Maybe I had something to do with this. If I contributed to my disease, then maybe I can contribute to my health. We live in a cause and effect world, and our choices matter. What you put in your mouth matters, what you put on your body matters, where you live matters, where you work matters. Your choices matter. Cancer is the convergence of multiple health-destroying factors in your life that all come together at the same time. The way you're living is killing you. Just go ahead and accept it. And if you go ahead and say, okay, this may be my fault, you know what that does? It empowers you. It empowers you to change. The cancer industry wants you to think it's not your fault. They want you to think it was just random bad luck and that nothing you did mattered, therefore nothing you can do matters, except showing up for surgery, chemo, and radiation treatments. But the truth is, your choices can make the difference between survival and death. Whether you're doing conventional treatment or not, there is so much you can do to promote health and healing in your body, and we'll cover it all in the Square One course. The point is not to blame yourself and wallow in self-pity. The point is to accept responsibility for your situation and change everything you can for the better. I believe that everything in life happens for a reason. And most of the time, the reason is you. You are the reason that many things in your life happen to you. Not everything, of course, but a lot of things, because the decisions we made in the past affect our reality today. An easy example, the decision to consistently study in school results in better grades. Better grades result in college acceptance and scholarships. A college degree opens up doors for better career opportunities. All of our decisions matter. The diet and lifestyle decisions that you've made up to this point have all affected your health, whether you've realized it or not. And now we're going to make some changes. When we change the input, we change the output. Okay, so let's talk about the specifics of cancer. First, cancer is natural and it is normal. Every person develops precancerous and cancerous cells in their body in their lifetime, but not every person develops tumors. The difference between the person with cancerous tumors and the person with no tumors is their immune system. Your immune system is designed to identify and eliminate viruses, bacteria, parasites, pathogens, and mutated cancer cells. For a variety of reasons, cells in your body become injured. They can get DNA damage or mitochondrial damage, and when a cell becomes injured, it usually repairs itself or dies. But in some cases, that cell will mutate to survive. If it's deprived of essential nutrients or oxygen, it can mutate to become cancerous. Every cell in your body is programmed to die at a certain point. Some cells live for a few days, some live for weeks, some cells live for many months, but they all have a programmed lifespan. The cancer cell doesn't have that. When a cell mutates and becomes cancerous, it starts dividing uncontrollably, and it loses the auto self-destruct mechanism, and it keeps living and multiplying. Eventually, it forms a tumor, and then cells from that tumor leave and form new tumors in other parts of the body. That's the way we've been told cancer develops. But 2 studies on breast cancer published in 2016 found that metastatic cancer cells leave the primary site before the tumor is even big enough to detect. Generally, a tumor can't be detected until it's at least 1 millimeter in size. But by then, it contains between 100,000 and 1 million cancer cells. And it's been growing for 6 years. Stage 1 is metastatic. You already have cancer cells circulating throughout your body. This is why early detection is often too late, and why metastasis happens after they tell a patient, we got it all. A properly functioning immune system is designed to identify and eliminate cancer cells. And if it's not doing that, if you have a tumor or lesion in your body, then that's an indication that your immune system is either overloaded or suppressed, or maybe both. It can't keep up with the demands you're placing on it. Cancer didn't invade you from another planet. These are your cells. Cancer is you. It's your DNA. Your body created it, and your body can heal it. How do I know that? Well, besides my own healing experience, I've talked to, interviewed, and coached hundreds of people who've healed cancer, and many of their stories are much more remarkable than mine. I've met and interviewed many people who've healed stage 4 terminal cancer after chemo, surgery, and radiation failed them, and others who've healed without doing any of those treatments. If you know my story, then you know I had surgery, and then I chose nutrition and natural, non-toxic therapies instead of chemotherapy. And my odds of survival as a young adult with metastatic colon cancer, stage 3C, were, as my oncologist put it, very grim. I had less than a 30% chance of making it to the 5-year mark, and less than a 20% chance of making it 10 years. I firmly believe that the radical diet and lifestyle choices that I made all the difference. My choices are the reason I'm here today. In the medical community, and especially in the cancer community, there's a long-standing belief that cancer is linear. That means once it starts in your body, it can't be stopped. It's like an unstoppable train. And the only way to stop the train is to blow up the tracks with destructive therapies like surgery, chemo, and radiation. But there's a lot of scientific evidence to the contrary. When cancer goes away on its own, it's called spontaneous remission. This is a medically documented fact. It's a medical term. They made it up, not me. In fact, there's a huge book called The Spontaneous Remission Project. It has over 3,500 references from 800 medical journals. It's the largest compilation of case studies and medical references of cancer patients who've had spontaneous remission. These were cancer patients who either didn't do treatment or the treatment didn't work, and then for some reason their cancer went away. We have scientific proof that the body can heal cancer. The medical industry calls it spontaneous remission, but we have another term for it: healing. Spontaneous remission means the body healed it. The body created it, and the body can heal it. There are thousands of scientifically documented cases, not to mention all the wonderful testimonials online, but skeptics still like to say, well, that's just anecdotal. The truth is, we learn from the experiences of others. Those are anecdotes. And many of the most important scientific discoveries in human history started with an anecdote. Sometimes one anecdote is all it takes to change your life. When I started my healing adventure in 2004, the internet was not helpful. There were no good websites for healing cancer. There was no social media, no YouTube, no Facebook. All I had was one book. One man's testimonial. That was it. But that was all I needed. I knew it was an answer to prayer, and it was enough to inspire me to change everything. Things are much better for you today. There's never been a better time to get cancer. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of cancer healing testimonials online, on Facebook, on YouTube. There are over 50 on my site alone, and I'm adding new ones all the time. Cancer can go away. It's called spontaneous remission. I want you to understand and believe that healing is possible. The body created it. and the body can heal it, if given the proper nutrients and care, which means you have to change the way you're living and remove all of the cancer-causing factors in your life. In most cases, cancer isn't caused by one thing. Many of you know the story of Erin Brockovich. She found out they had very high rates of cancer in her town because a local factory was illegally dumping hexavalent chromium, and it was contaminating the water supply. And a lot of people were getting cancer. So in that case, they could pinpoint it to one thing. But still, not everyone who drank the toxic water got cancer. So the good news is, even if you're exposed to environmental toxins, your diet and lifestyle can be protective. But you still need to reduce your toxic exposure to the absolute minimum. I'm going to show you how to do that in Module 4. Several recent studies have concluded that between 70% and 95% of cancers are caused by our diet, lifestyle, and environment. I'm going to add a fourth factor, stress. I'll address that in Module 5, but for now, let's talk about the first three. Many researchers believe that less than 5% of cancers are genetic, and that 95% are caused by diet, lifestyle, and environment. But even if that figure is closer to 70%, that's huge. 70% has almost everything to do with you. So let's talk about epigenetics. Epigenetics is a branch of science that studies how genes express themselves. So we know that not every woman with a breast cancer gene gets breast cancer. Why? Because your genes don't determine your fate. Your diet, lifestyle, and environment all contribute to whether or not your genes express themselves. We've all inherited some good genes and some bad ones. We want to express or turn on as many of the good cancer-preventing genes as possible, and you want to turn off or prevent the expression of the bad cancer-causing genes. Your diet and lifestyle behaviors and your environment can make all the difference. Your choices matter. There's a recent study that looked at multiple groups of twins. And what they found is that if one twin gets breast cancer, then the other twin has a much higher risk of getting breast cancer, especially if they're identical twins because they're genetically identical. But even though the other twin is a higher risk, many of them still don't get cancer. This further illustrates the point that it's not just about genetics. Genetics may load the gun, but your diet and lifestyle pull the trigger. So yeah, you may have a higher risk of cancer, heart disease, or diabetes if you're diseases, but your risk increases the most if you eat the same Western diet as them. So if you live the way they lived, you can expect to get the same diseases they got. If your mom got breast cancer and she had a Western diet and she didn't exercise, and then if you eat a standard Western diet and don't exercise, then yeah, you probably will get breast cancer too. But if you eat a radically different diet modeled after the longest living people around the world with the lowest rates of breast cancer, and you're active, then your risk of getting breast cancer will be much, much lower. The rate of breast cancer is 6 times lower in Japan than it is in the US. But when Japanese women migrate to the US and adopt the Western diet and lifestyle, their rate of breast cancer eventually rises to the same level as American women. Your choices matter. Think of your body like a giant factory. The beginning of the conveyor belt, the entrance of the factory is your mouth, and the parts coming into the factory are food. Food is coming into your mouth and going down the conveyor belt, which is your digestive tract, from mouth to anus. And along the way, workers in your factory are breaking down the food you eat and carrying the nutrients all around your body to give your cells what they need. The product of your factory is health. The goal of your body is to stay healthy, right? In homeostasis. Now, imagine a factory that's open 24 hours a day and the assembly line never stops, and gradually the owners of the factory keep putting more stuff on the assembly line, but they don't hire any more workers. If you keep adding parts to the assembly line and you don't add more workers, you're going to create chaos in the factory. There's a classic I Love Lucy episode where Lucy and Ethel are working in a candy factory wrapping chocolates as they come down the conveyor belt. Then the conveyor belt speeds up and they can't keep up and the candies are piling up and falling off. And they're trying to get rid of the extra candies by eating them and stuffing them in their clothes so they don't get fired. It's hilarious chaos. This is kind of like what's happening in your body if you have cancer or any type of chronic Western disease, except it's not hilarious. Your body is overloaded and overwhelmed. There's too much coming in too fast, and your body can't keep up with the demand you're putting on it. Chaos ensues, garbage piles up, problems arise, and everybody is working as hard and as fast as they can just to try to keep up with the demand, but they aren't able to keep up. Your immune system is overwhelmed and it doesn't have enough capacity to deal with the rogue cancer cell that started multiplying and formed a lesion or a tumor, or maybe spreading in your blood like leukemia or lymphoma. What we want to do is we want to reduce the stress on your body, reduce your toxic load, simplify your life, and create an environment where your body can thrive, where it can prevent and heal cancer. We want your body to be a place where cancer cannot thrive. In the scientific community, they refer to this as an environment that's inhospitable to cancer. It's all about the terrain. Your internal terrain is either hospitable to cancer or inhospitable. We want to make it inhospitable. And there are major changes you can make to improve your internal terrain. Right now, you are what you ate. Your body is essentially made out of everything you put in your mouth. If you've been eating junk food and fast food for years, well, then your body is basically built out of junk. It's clogged up and it's polluted and it's not running right. But when you replace the man-made processed junk with high-quality raw materials straight from the earth, you dramatically change your internal terrain. I'm going to show you specifically how to do that in the anti-cancer diet modules, which is modules 3 and 4. Now I want to switch gears. There are two important questions that I ask every cancer patient, and now I'm going to ask you. The first one is, why do you think you have cancer? If you're taking notes, write the answer down. What are the reasons that you think you have cancer? I think you know why you have cancer. There may be some factors in your life that you aren't aware of yet, but I'm also confident that there are factors you do know about. If you think it's stress, you're right. If you think it's because you haven't been taking care of yourself, you're right. How do I know that? Because I've talked to hundreds of cancer patients, and when I ask them that question, they all tell me, I haven't been taking care of myself, and I've had a lot of stress in my life. Listen to your instincts and your intuition. Now, your doctor is not going to ask you why you think you have cancer, because most doctors don't care what you think. If you volunteer why you think you have cancer to your doctor, he's just going to shrug it off and say it wasn't your diet or lifestyle or stress, it was just bad luck or bad genes. If you have family history, they'll tell you it's genetic. I didn't have any family history, and they told me mine was genetic. Blaming genetics is a way to make the cancer patient powerless. The cancer industry wants to make you a victim, a helpless, powerless victim. A victim has no control over their situation, which means you must be fully dependent on doctors to save you. And there's nothing you can do to affect your future. No, it's nothing you did. No, your diet doesn't matter. Yes, it's okay to eat ice cream, pizza, and burgers. You just need to make sure you eat enough so you don't lose weight. Natural non-toxic therapies won't help you. We are your only hope. That is the message that cancer patients are getting from their oncologists, and I'm here to tell you it's a lie. They're not your only hope. Your body created it. Your body can heal it. The second question I ask every cancer patient is, do you really want to live? The first time someone asked me that, it scared me because I'd never really thought about it. I was so focused on not dying, I wasn't really thinking about living and whether or not I really truly wanted to live. So you need to answer this. It's a yes or no question. Do you want to live? Because if you don't really want to live, there's really no point in doing anything. I mean, there's no point in changing your life. There's certainly no point in doing surgery, chemo, or radiation. Maybe you're content with your life and you're ready to die. Or maybe you're unhappy with your life and you're just tired of living. That's okay. No judgment. If you're ready to die, that's totally fine. My suggestion to you is, why don't you just enjoy the rest of your life doing what you want to do? Like Norma Bauerschmidt, aka Driving Miss Norma. She refused cancer treatment at 90 years old, hit the road in an RV, and spent the last year of her life traveling all over the US, having adventures with her son and his wife. Norma wasn't trying to get well. She just made a decision to live it up to the end, and she died peacefully after a few weeks in hospice. I love that. If I had a loved one with cancer and they told me, I don't want to do anything, I just want to enjoy the rest of my life eating cheeseburgers and milkshakes 3 times a day, I'd say, okay, if that's what you want, I'll go get you some. You shouldn't do anything you don't want to do. Whether it's surgery, chemo, radiation, alternative therapies, whatever it is, if you don't want to do it, if you don't have that strong will to live, don't do it. But if you do want to live, you should know that beating cancer, healing the body, takes total commitment. Total commitment, no excuses. The characteristics of cancer patients that get well, like myself and hundreds I've met, are the same. We're all the same. There are 2 characteristics of cancer patients who heal cancer. 1, they have a strong will to live. And 2, they're willing to do whatever it takes to get well. They make no excuses. That's who this course is for. It's for people who have a strong will to live, who take full responsibility for their health, and who are willing to change everything. If that's you, then great. I am here for you. You are the person I am here to serve. But if you don't have a strong will to live, if you don't want to change your life, if you're not willing to quit smoking or change your diet or exercise or forgive, then this course is not for you. You must have a strong will to live, and you must be willing to do whatever it takes to get well. I'm talking about taking massive action. Minimal action usually produces minimal results. Massive action produces massive results. Sometimes small changes can produce big results, but if that's what you're hoping for, your hope is in the wrong place, because I will never tell you this one supplement or this herb or this one food is going to cure your cancer. And anyone who tells you those kinds of things is scamming you. That's snake oil, the one cancer cure, the magic bullet. There is no magic bullet. Healing requires a total life change. You have to be prepared to take massive action and make a total commitment. I'm talking about at least 2 years. 2 years, hardcore life change. I've seen a lot of cancer patients have dramatic turnarounds in their health in a very short time. 30, 60, 90 days. Tumors start to shrink or even disappear. But a 2-year commitment is essential because that's when you're at the highest risk of recurrence. Every cell in your body regenerates. You have almost an entirely new body every year. Nearly every cell has been replaced, some cells many times over in a year. But 1 year from now, you will basically have an entirely new body. That's pretty cool to think about. You are rebuilding your body. Every bite you take, you're building a new body. Remind yourself every day with every bite. I would think about that when I had cancer as I'm staring at this giant bowl full of vegetables. Some days I would have rather had a cheeseburger, but I reminded myself I'm building a new body. And that's what you have to be committed to do. At least 2 years, hardcore. There's a strange phenomenon that I see regularly, which is a cancer patient will adopt the hardcore diet and life change and do really well in the beginning. They feel great, the tumors start shrinking, or some tumors disappear within the first few months. And then for some reason, they get lazy and complacent, and they gradually go back to their old habits and their old way of living. And then the cancer starts growing again, or it comes back. Sometimes they become impatient that the tumors aren't going away fast enough, and then they let their doctors scare them and talk them into the quick fix of surgery, chemo, or radiation, and then the suffering begins. They're sick, they're weak, they can't eat, they can't get out of bed, and they get depressed and lose their motivation, and all the nutrition and exercise and health promoting habits go out the window. And then the cancer comes back and their situation goes downhill really fast, and it often does not end well for them. So let's talk about fear. Fear is a major factor here. I get it. I know what it feels like to be afraid of cancer. But let's break fear down for a moment. Where does the fear of cancer come from? It comes from the cancer industry, because most people are afraid of suffering. They're afraid of the brutal treatments. They're afraid of being sick and poisoned and the damage that it does to their body and all the uncertainties and unknowns. They're afraid of all the complications that can come from surgery, chemo, and radiation. That's where the fear comes from. Most patients I've talked to are not really afraid of dying. They're just afraid of suffering. You need to be honest with yourself about what you're really afraid of and address that fear head on. If you're afraid of suffering from chemotherapy, radiation, or surgery, that's pretty normal. But remember, most of the fear of cancer comes from the cancer industry. And what I've got to tell you is, don't be afraid. Do not let fear dictate your decision-making process. Because when you're afraid, your stress hormones are pumping and you will make irrational and impulsive decisions. The cancer industry uses fear to motivate patients to take immediate action. They say, if you don't do these treatments, you're going to die. We need to start right away. And patients are rushed into treatment with fear. Remember, the cancer treatment industry is a business. This is a $1 trillion industry. And over the years, the oncology industry has figured out that if they don't book cancer patients into surgery or chemo or the next procedure before they leave the office, then there's a good chance they will lose that patient and lose that future income. For a short time, my mom actually worked in an oncologist office, and her job was to book the patients for their next appointment before they left. It wasn't a sinister plot, it was just the way things work. A patient comes in, they get a cancer diagnosis, and then it's like, okay, now we've got to make sure we get them booked for their next appointment or procedure before they leave. Don't be afraid. Take a deep breath and breathe. You've got to breathe through this. You have time to read and research. You have time to change your life. You have time. Now, there will always be exceptions. If you have a tumor that's blocking your windpipe or your digestive tract, you may need immediate surgery. But most cancer patients have time. Many patients don't even feel sick when they get a diagnosis. You have time to read and research. You have time to change your life, and you have options. Don't let anyone rush you into anything you don't want to do. Don't make a fear-based decision. Listen to your instincts and your intuition. If you don't want to do a specific treatment, if something deep down inside of you is saying, don't do it, then don't do it. It doesn't matter if your family and your friends want you to, or if the doctor says you need to. Your instincts and intuition are powerful. You need to take the time to read and research and to change your life. You could experience a dramatic improvement in as little as 30 to 90 days doing exactly what I'm talking about in this course. I'm often asked if I would still have surgery knowing what I know now. And my answer to that is no, I would not have rushed into surgery immediately because my tumor was not life-threatening when I was diagnosed. I would have taken some time, 30 to 90 days, to change my life and give my body the opportunity to heal. And I would have closely monitored my progress along the way. We'll talk about the best ways to do that in Module 9, which is all about testing and how to monitor your progress. In my 20 questions for your oncologist guide, which is also part of this course, there are some critical questions to ask your doctor. And one of them is, Is my cancer fast growing or slow growing? Chances are it's slow. You've had cancer growing in your body for a long time, many years. It didn't pop up overnight, so tell your doctor you need more time. I'd like to take a few months to get my life in order. I'm not ready for treatment yet. And in many cases, they will give you permission to delay treatment. If they don't give you permission, then you have to decide whether or not you want to go against your doctor's advice. That's not as easy, but people do it all the time. Now, let's talk about the people around you. Because if you make a decision to delay or opt out of conventional cancer treatment, some people will not understand. They'll tell you you're wrong and that you're making a mistake. The first person that disagreed with me was my wife, Micah. She loves me, but when I told her I wanted to heal with nutrition and not do chemo, she thought I was making a huge mistake. And then other people around me, family members who loved me and wanted me to live, began calling and telling me I was making a mistake. And like many cancer patients, in order to appease the family pressure, I went to see an oncologist. When I asked him about alternative therapies, he said, "If you don't do chemo, you're insane." The only person who supported me in the very beginning was my mom. She's always been a health nut and had stacks and stacks of books on health and healing. My dad was more of a stoic supporter, so he didn't put any pressure on me to go either way. He let me make my own decisions. But I had opposition from other family members and from my doctors. And if you have opposition, I just want you to know it's normal. You should expect it. When everyone else is floating downstream and you're trying to swim upstream, a lot of people are going to be like, "Hey, you're going the wrong way." So you need to be prepared for that. Some of you watching this are swimming upstream right now, so you already understand what this feels like. Listen to your instincts and intuition. That's the most important thing because that will guide you. Now, obviously, I'm a Christian, so I think you need to reach out to God and ask for help. God, help me. Show me what to do. I need encouragement and support and direction. Reach out and ask for help. Even if you don't believe in God, or if you're not sure there is a God, just reach out and just say, "Okay, God, if you're real, you have my attention. Just show me what I need to do. Show me what I need to change. I'm listening." And I can assure you that if you sincerely reach out that way and ask for help, you'll get it. Help will come to you in miraculous ways. It did for me, and I've seen it happen over and over again. But make sure you're looking for those miracles and answers to your prayer. Don't dismiss them or shrug them off as coincidence. There are no coincidences. During this process, you may need to have conversations with people around you who don't understand because they will continue to pester you and they will create a lot of stress and anxiety in your life. They'll keep saying, "You really need to do the surgery or chemo or radiation. You really need to do what the doctor says." And at some point, you just have to sit down with them or get on the phone and say, "Listen, I know you love me and I love you. I know you care about me, but I need you to understand that I'm making the best decision for me. My goal is to live as long as possible and to get well. And I'm reading and researching and learning as much as I can so I can make good decisions. I'm not going to rush into anything out of fear. And I'm not going to do anything that I don't have peace about." When you explain yourself in that way, they will understand. You may need to say, "Listen, I understand what you think I need to do, but I really don't want to talk about it anymore because if that's all we're going to talk about, it makes me not want to talk to you. And I would love for us to just hang out and spend time together and not talk about this stuff. And for you to just trust that I'm making the best decision for me." Sometimes a reality check is appropriate. If you've asked your doctor some of the questions in my 20 questions for your oncologist guide, then you will have some important details to share with your friends and family to get them to back off. For example, if you're stage 3 or 4 and you ask your doctor, "Will this treatment cure my cancer?" and they tell you no, then you can remind your loved ones that your doctor told you it isn't curable. By the way, an incurable diagnosis can be a blessing in disguise because when the doctor tells you the treatment is not curable, that gives you permission to opt out of treatment. They've told you the truth, that they can't cure you, And that empowers you to take full control of your situation. And you can tell your friends and family, the doctors told me they can't cure me. All the treatments are going to do is make me sick, and I'm going to suffer, and there's no guarantee I'll live any longer or have a better quality of life. I'd rather change my whole life and try to get well that way. So, I've got nothing to lose. And here's what you say to your doctor. Doctor, thank you so much for all the information and for your time. I've thought about this a lot, and what I've realized is that quality of life is much more important to me than quantity of life. And if I do treatment, my quality of life is going to be terrible. I'm going to be sick and suffering right away. I feel okay now, and I just want to feel okay as long as possible. So I'm just not ready to do any treatment right now. Something may change in the future, and I totally understand if you think I have better odds if I do treatment, but it's just not what I want to do right now. If you explain yourself to your doctor in that way, they're usually more understanding. You should also ask if they'd be willing to work with you and on your own terms and order blood work every month, maybe a scan every 6 months or so. Typically, your doctor will say, no problem, we can do that. Now, if you have an arrogant doctor who's a jerk and only cares about money, then they will probably still try to use fear to talk you into treatment. Or they might fire you as a patient, but good. Why would you want to work with someone like that anyway? So when you explain to the people around you that you just want to enjoy your life and feel good as long as possible, they'll back off. By the way, you don't need to tell your doctor everything you're doing. It's going to be a waste of time. You don't need to give your doctor a lecture about nutrition or alternative therapies because he's going to disagree with you and he's going to say, it doesn't work, don't do it, don't bother, or I had a patient who tried that and they died. So it's a waste of time and energy to go into any details about what you're doing with your doctor because chances are they haven't spent any time researching nutrition because all of their time is spent with patients or learning about new drugs. The vast majority of oncologists have no interest in nutrition whatsoever. So that's how you address the people in your life, the doctor, your friends and family. Get them on board or get them off board. You need to build a support system. A 2016 study of over 9,000 women with breast cancer found that socially isolated women had a 40% higher risk of recurrence, a 60% higher risk of dying from breast cancer, and a 70% higher risk of dying from any cause. Don't withdraw and isolate yourself. You need friends now more than ever. Some cancer patients I've talked to had their spouse on board, their children were helping them, their parents were helping them, their siblings, their best friend, or all the above. They had an incredible support system, but that's rare. The best way to get people on board is to show them the information on chrisbeatcancer.com. Show them all the interviews I've done with people who've healed all types and stages of cancer. Show them the videos in this course. Try to open their eyes and help them understand that the body can heal and get them excited about the power of nutrition. Again, I only had my mom in the beginning. Then I found a nutritionist / naturopath that has supported me. And then through him, I found an integrative oncologist who supported me. It took a little while for my wife to warm up to it, but she eventually did too. If you don't have much support in the beginning, it's okay. Remember, time changes things. It was even tougher for me because back then there was no social media, there weren't any Facebook groups, you couldn't find people on YouTube or Twitter. Those sites didn't exist. I had zero online cancer support, and there weren't any local alternative healing support groups in Memphis either. It's much easier to find support online today thanks to social media. There's a local healing cancer support group you need to know about called Healing Strong. People who are trying to heal cancer get together once a month to share their experiences, share helpful information, encourage each other. There may be a Healing Strong support group in your city. And if not, start your own. And the people you're looking for will come out of the woodwork. You can go to healingstrong.org to learn more about that. So you have to build your team and your support group. If you don't have anybody, you've got to get out there and beat the bushes and find like-minded people. They're out there. You don't have to do this alone. Go to your local hole-in-the-wall health food store and tell them you're looking for other people who've healed cancer or trying to heal cancer with alternative therapies. Ask for help and you will get it. The support groups you want to stay away from are the conventional cancer support groups. Stay away because birds of a feather flock together. And what you'll find is that traditional cancer support groups are full of cancer victims. People who are angry, afraid, and unhappy because they're suffering. And most of them aren't getting well. And they'll get upset when you talk about diet and lifestyle and alternative therapies. And they'll tell you what you're doing is wrong and that it won't work, while conventional treatment is failing them. Don't think you're going to go in there and help them see the light. They don't want help. They just want to complain to each other. And they're going to turn on you. So until you're completely well, you won't be strong enough to handle this criticism. It's going to create a lot of unnecessary negativity, stress, and anxiety for you. Just find like-minded people that you can support and who can support you. And you can exchange ideas and encourage each other. That's what you need. Next, make plans for the future. Document the entire process. Journal, do a video diary, start a blog. Document what you're doing because you need to plan to A, get well, and B, use what you've learned to help other people. You need life goals, future goals to work toward. Making plans for the future is very important. You know, the spirit-mind-body connection is a mystery, but something happens when you plan for the future. You're planning to live. You're sending signals of life to your body. It's very powerful. So don't be afraid to make plans for the future. I know some of you may be thinking, well, I don't know if I'll be here in a year or 2 years. Instead of thinking that way, I want you to think, I'm going to live. And these are my plans for my life. For next year, for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years, sketch out your life goals, the things you want to accomplish. I'm going to see my daughter graduate college. I'm going to see my son get married. I'm going to watch my grandkids grow up. I'm going to be a great grandparent. Making plans for the future is so important. When I was diagnosed, I didn't have any children, and I wanted to have a family. I wanted to be a dad. It was in my life plan. But if I did chemotherapy, it was likely that I wouldn't have been able to have children of my own. That was one of the reasons I didn't want to do chemo. And now I have 2 beautiful girls. If I'd done chemotherapy, my girls wouldn't be here, and I probably wouldn't be here either. So make plans for the future. And the last thing is, enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. Don't let fear and cancer steal your joy. Depression suppresses your immune system. It's a vicious cycle. If you're depressed and fearful and anxious and worried, it makes you more vulnerable to cancer. So you need to focus on things that bring you joy, hope, optimism, and encouragement. That's what the Square One course is all about. And you need to start living your life. Really living. There's an organization for young adult cancer patients called Stupid Cancer. And even though they're very conventionally minded, I love their slogan, which is Get Busy Living. Now is your time to live. You could die in a car wreck tomorrow. There's 100 different ways you could die besides cancer. So there's no point in letting cancer paralyze you into depression and inaction where you just sit at home and feel sorry for yourself. Start doing things you've always wanted to do, like Miss Norma. Make plans, get out there, live your life, do fun stuff. Go skydiving, mountain climbing, and bull riding like the Tim McGraw song. Decide to enjoy your life and to enjoy the process and get busy living. Even if some of these radical changes are difficult for you, like giving up your bad habits and your favorite junk food to eat vegetables that you've never liked, you've got to keep your perspective. The fact that you can get out of bed in the morning, that you can see, that you can hear, you can breathe fresh air, you can feel the sunshine on your skin, and that you're alive, these are things to be thankful for. I talk about this a lot more in Module 7 about how to identify and eliminate the stress in your life and how to stay positive and enjoy your life, but I just wanted to touch on that here. The overarching goal of the Square One program is to help you change your whole life and for you to enjoy the process. This is a new chapter. It's a new season in your life. It's a new adventure. So don't look at it like a chore. Don't look at it like drudgery. If you're focused on negativity and feeling sorry for yourself, stop it. Stop focusing on the things you can't do and start focusing on all the things you can do. Focus on all the things you have to be thankful for. You have 1,000 things to be thankful for and happy about. Pick one. This will dramatically change your outlook and your mood. That's where joy comes from. It comes from gratitude. Gratitude is the secret to happiness. Practice gratitude every day. In Module 2, I'm going to help you connect the dots and identify the many factors in our world and in your life that are causing and contributing to cancer. And I will show you the steps you can take to systematically remove these cancer causers from your life, making it easier for your body to heal, and also significantly reduce your risk of recurrence or of getting cancer in the first place. We're going to talk about your diet and lifestyle, your home, your work environment, stress, and a lot more. Don't miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on Module 2.
Hello.
Hi.
What's your name?
My name's Callie Bevier.
Hi, Kelly. And where are you from?
I'm from a really small town in Ohio. It's called Grand Rapids.
And how old are you?
I'm 16 years old.
16 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. And what is your dream?
My dream is to win America's Got Talent.
As a singer?
As a singer, yes.
Who do you compare yourself to?
I don't compare myself to anyone.
That's good.
Yeah.
As Simon always says, he looks for somebody who's original, somebody who we can hear something we've never heard before. Is that what we're about to hear?
Hopefully, yes.
I hope so, too. I like the whole look. It's like a little Audrey Hepburn.
Oh, thank you. My hair wasn't really like my choice. I'm a survivor of stage 3 ovarian cancer.
No way.
Yeah. I kind of came here today to show people that no matter what you've gone through, to keep chasing your dreams.
Oh, what a great message. Wow, you're an inspiration. We can't wait to hear you. Good luck.
Thank you.
You can feel my heart beating out of my
As it
chest.
says, it's gonna be okay.
Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream them aloud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm right song. My power's turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion.
You know, you have gone through an obstacle far greater than anybody much older than you could even imagine going through. And then you come to this point and you make choices, and you made the choice of singing that song. And that's your fight song.
Yeah.
And it was so heartfelt and so inspirational. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you so much.
It was amazing.
Your tones and the way that you fell off the note was just on point. Couldn't have gone any better for you, I don't think.
Thank you.
You do have a beautiful voice, and I can't believe that you're only 16 years old. I mean, it's incredible. Well done.
Thank you.
Callistus, I love everything about
Thank you so much.
Just, you know what? I just had this feeling when you walked out, I can't explain it. Just your spirit, the choice of song, your voice. I think you're really special. I've just got this really incredible feeling about you.
Thank you
I really do.
That means so much coming from you.
Telling you.
Means a lot coming from Simon.
I think everyone in this room felt it. And I think that, look, you were nervous, I could hear that. But, you know, you get past this stage, I predict great things are going to happen for you. There's something about you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I've got to do this.
And we'll rise up, high like the waves. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000.
Hi lovelies, welcome to Cancer with a Smile. Today I'm going to tell you all about my top tips for getting through chemo. As a lot of you will know from watching my channel, last year I went through treatment for breast cancer. So I had 4 rounds of chemotherapy and it was hard going, it was really tough. So today I'm going to give you my top tips of how to get through chemo. So one of the first really hard side effects of chemotherapy is the way it affects your mouth. A lot of people suffer really badly from having a dry mouth while they're going through chemotherapy, and it was something that I really struggled with. It was actually one of the most horrible side effects of going through chemo. So my top tips for getting through chemo mouth are: number 1, everything tastes disgusting. It gives you this kind of metally taste in your mouth, so you need to try and cover up that taste. So water tastes horrible. Something I found that I really like during chemo, which I don't normally like, is fizzy water. For some reason, the kind of fizziness in the water makes it much easier to drink. So definitely try and drink fizzy water. Even add a little bit of cordial to it if you like, and that gives it a little bit more of a flavour. Other things that are really good for your mouth are pineapple. Pineapple is a natural cleanser, so it helps clean out your mouth when it's feeling really gross. You can either drink fresh pineapple juice or eat fresh pineapple. I also really liked to eat frozen pineapple because the frozen pineapple just cools down your mouth and makes it feel really nice and cleanses it at the same time. It needs to be fresh pineapple though if you're going to eat it, not the tin stuff. It doesn't have the same effect. Another thing that's really good for your mouth is any other kind of frozen fruits. I really like little bits of frozen mango. I used to suck on them, and the kind of coolness and the wateriness of it is really good for refreshing your mouth. If you're trying to cover up horrible flavours, I ate a lot of mints when I was going through chemotherapy because they just take away that kind of metally taste that you get in your mouth. If you find that your mouth is particularly bad, which I found my first time I had my chemotherapy, you can actually get a synthetic saliva spray. And this is a spray that you spray in your mouth, and it just moistens your mouth and helps it feel a lot better. It sounds a bit weird, but actually I found in my first chemotherapy I really liked it and I really got used to using it, and it was fantastic. Any other kind of hard boiled sweets like mints, or if you don't like a mint flavour, you can maybe get something like a fruity kind of flavour, are really good. I used to keep them in my bag as well for eating if my mouth was feeling really disgusting. The next thing that's fantastic for your mouth is oil pulling. Now, oil pulling is hard and it feels really gross at first, but you do get used to it. And I got in the way of oil pulling all the way through my chemotherapy. I did it every day, and I found my second, third and fourth chemotherapy, my mouth was in such better condition because I was oil pulling every day. It takes out all the toxins and it moisturises your mouth. I'm going to do another video soon all about oil pulling, so you can have a look at that. Tip number 2 is try and get outside for a little bit of exercise and a little bit of fresh air every day. If you're having problems sleeping, this really helps to set your body clock, help your body know that it's daytime and when it's night time. The fresh air will also help you sleep. Getting a little bit of exercise gets your body moving, the blood rushing around your body a little bit more, even if you're doing something super gentle, if you're feeling really down and really like you're struggling. Tip number 3, things to help you when you're finding you can't sleep. Now this is a big problem I had during chemo. I really struggled with my sleep. My first chemo I had terrible insomnia, and then the other few chemos I struggled with the steroids, which kind of make you hyper and it's hard to sleep. So my tips for trying to get a better night's sleep are: don't use your phone just before going to bed, and don't use a computer just before going to bed, because it makes you really wired and then you really struggle to sleep. You know, do calming things, have a bath before bed, read a book before bed, something that's going to help you wind down, and try not to snooze too much in the late afternoon because this will affect you sleeping at night. But if you're feeling like you can't get through the day without a snooze, take one kind of about lunchtime, and that will really help you get through the day. If you are really struggling to sleep, you find you're up through the night, do things that don't make your brain get too crazy. So don't put on the telly and don't sit on your laptop or your phone. Find kind of restful things to do. So you could read a book, you could listen to an audio book, you could listen to some sort of meditation type thing on YouTube. It will be really good, and they just calm you down and help you feel restful. Even if you're not sleeping, lying with your eyes closed doing something when you're not moving actually helps your body rest and get better. Even though it's not quite as good as sleep, it's a lot better than being active and have your mind whirling round. Number 4, sickness. Sickness is something a lot of people really struggle with chemo. The medication's getting better for sickness, so it's not as big an issue for as many as people, but it's still something that's really tough, and I struggled feeling sick. I wasn't actually physically sick very often, but I did feel nauseous. So good things to help you get through sickness are ginger. Ginger is a natural suppressant of sickness, so it helps stop you feeling sick. So you can eat things like ginger nuts. I drank a lot of ginger and lemon tea that helped with my sickness. Also make sure you've spoken to your doctors about sickness medication. There's lots of different tablets that you can take that'll help with your sickness, and sometimes it takes a little while to work out which one's the best for you. Another thing I found that really helped was eating small amounts. Believe it or not, when you're feeling sick, often if you eat a little bit, it will make you feel a bit better, so it's definitely worth trying a little bit of food every now and again. Number 5, get lots of help. The only way you're going to get through chemotherapy is by having the people around you help you. You cannot do this on your own, you need people to help you. So let people come and ask people for help. If you're on your own, you're still going to need help with things. You're going to need people to help you look after your house. You're going to need people to cook you meals, because there's going to be days you're not going to feel like this. So make sure you enlist lots of people to help you. If you've got kids, you're going to need that even more. So make sure you've got people in place who can be there. Let your friends help you, because believe it or not, people want to help you. When you're not feeling good and they really feel for you, they feel better when they can do something to help. So make sure you accept that help from people. Let them walk your dog, let them look after your kids, and let them do your ironing, because they will actually feel really good for being there for you. Okay, number 6, make meals in advance. Now, this might be tricky if you're going through a lot of treatment, but it's even something you can get your partner to do for you, or you can get your family to do for you. Have your freezer full of lots of great meals that are going to be easy for you to bung in the oven. So when you're feeling really down and you're not feeling like making meals and cutting up vegetables, you've got something wholesome that's good for you. It's very easy during chemotherapy to get into the bad habit of eating quick, fast, unhealthy food, which is not going to help your body recover. So get organised, get that freezer stocked, and get your friends and family enlisted to get things made. Okay, number 7, tips to help with hair loss. Hair loss is a huge part of going through chemotherapy, and it's the part that a lot of people really struggle with, and I myself found it a hard thing. For me, the best way to get through the hair loss was, as soon as my hair started shedding, I shaved it right off so I didn't have to watch it fall out. But that's not for everybody. Some people might want to cold cap, some people might want to make the most of what's left. It's entirely up to you. But my tips for hair loss are: get yourself some scarves and get yourself some nice little beanie hats. You might have a wig too. A lot of people like to wear a wig, but A wig's not going to be comfortable all the time, and when you're in the house you're probably not going to want to wear your wig because they can be a bit itchy and they make you awful warm. Number 8, your skin. You're going to find that chemo most likely dries your skin out. A lot of people get dry skin. Other people also get acne during chemo because your body's run down and it doesn't know what's going on with all these chemicals in it. So you need to make sure you look after your skin. Make sure you're washing it every night or you're cleansing it, however you like to keep your skin clean, and use a really good moisturiser. Okay, number 9, your nails. Chemotherapy is not good for your nails, and a lot of different types of chemo will actually make your nails lift out the nail bed. Chemo attacks any cells that are multiplying, so that's why your hair comes out, so anything that's still growing in your body is going to affect, so that's why it affects your nails. Something that I did part of my chemotherapy was I was part of a trial where they were asking us to put an oil on our nails every day, actually twice a day. So throughout my chemotherapy I used a cuticle oil and rubbed it on my nails twice a day. I just did it as part of my routine when I was getting ready, so I would put it on in the morning and I would put it on at night. And some of my nails did lift a little bit, but they were a lot better than other people who are going through the same chemotherapy, so I definitely recommend using a cuticle oil. Number 10, my last tip. I would say make sure you plan some treats for yourself. What feels so hard about chemotherapy is it is long and you feel like nothing good's happening because you feel so down and you feel so rubbish all the time. But if you can work out the way your kind of cycle works with chemotherapy, a lot of people will have a chemo every 3 weeks. So they find the first week after chemo is really tough, week 2 you're starting to feel a little bit better, and by week 3 you're almost back to yourself. So in week 3, plan something really fun to do so you've got things to look forward to, and it will really help you get through your chemotherapy. It's almost like a treat to reward you for going through each round. So thanks for watching, guys. They're my top tips. If you would like to see more, subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you guys as part of it, and I really appreciate all your support. Also, I am on Instagram where I blog every day if you pop over to Cancer with a Smile on Instagram, and I have a blog which is just www.cancerwithasmile.com. Thanks for watching, lovelies. Bye!
Welcome to a special edition of your Cannabis News Update. Today it's all about RSO. Rick Simpson oil, or RSO for short, is a broad-spectrum edible cannabis oil that generally contains the full range of cannabinoids found in marijuana. It is used to treat a wide array of bodily ails and diseases, helping to cure everything from your regular head cold to various forms of cancer. This wonderful product was created by namesake Rick Simpson out of personal necessity. Working as an engineer in a hospital in Canada during the late 90s, the boiler room where he actually performed his duties was covered in asbestos, causing his central nervous system to go into shock, and Rick fell off a ladder, hitting his head on the way down. He would go on to suffer for years from this accident, having dizzy spells and a terrible ringing in his ears. Traditional medications prescribed by doctors had no effect. After brief exposure to a documentary aimed at displaying the positive benefits of using marijuana, Rick took this information to his doctor, but the subject matter was shrugged off time and time again. After many hours of research, Rick sourced his own cannabis supply and started noticing slight improvement in his symptoms. In 2003, 3 suspect bumps had arisen on Rick's arm. He was diagnosed with skin cancer, more specifically basal cell carcinoma. Upon some critical thinking and some studying, Rick had found a study from the Journal of the National Cancer Institute where they demonstrated THC was found to kill cancer cells in mice. He decided the best course of action would be to treat his condition topically and started experimenting with indica cannabis strains and food-grade, high-quality grain alcohol, and developed his first batch of concentrated cannabis oil. He applied it to his cancer spots and covered them with a bandage for 4 days. To his astonishment, after he removed the bandages, the spots had completely disappeared. From then on, he refined his process, began cultivating his own cannabis, and made it his mission to distribute cannabis oil to those who need it, just like he did. Through many hurdles such as police raids, thousands of plants being confiscated, and mainstream medical denial, he helped treat over 5,000 people. Rick is adamant that his famed RSO should be made with pure indica strains strains as they help the body get the rest it needs during the healing process. RSO oil can be found at many dispensaries in legal states, but due to the basic nature of economics, it can be a little pricey. The good news is that it is not too hard to make yourself, and if you are careful about your ingredients and cleanliness of your workstation, you'll come out with a great product. We have included links in the description for both the recipe and treatment regimen. I hope this message reaches the people out there who really need it. With that being said, those of us here at the Smoke Files would like to wish you a great evening. Consume your cannabis responsibly, and only those adults mature enough to make that decision on their own should do so. Also, make sure you stay tuned Monday through Friday at 4:20 p.m. for all of your future cannabis news updates, and subscribe to the Smoke Files on YouTube and follow the Smoke Files on Facebook and Twitter to stay hotboxed in the current landscape of cannabis reform.
Hey there, I'm Mandy Lee, the host of Try This. Try This is an educational show that is all about cannabis and cannabis products. Every Thursday we share with you how-to videos, product reviews, and more to help you get the most value from our favorite plant. And this week we are talking about juicing cannabis and the 5 things that you definitely want to know about getting started. So let's dive in and let's try this. You might have heard about juicing as it's been gaining more and more popularity and attention over the past several years. Now, for me myself, I started juicing several years ago. It was just a great way of getting more nutrients into my body quickly. It works as a natural cleanse and it keeps me super healthy and helps me to keep my weight down as well. But it was only last year that I learned that cannabis can be juiced as well. Now, if you're not familiar with the benefits of juicing, what you're basically doing is you're concentrating all of the nutrients of the plant into a condensed liquid that's full of more beneficial nutrients than you would be able to eat in one sitting. Now, the juicer machine that you use, it basically starts the digestion process for you. It breaks down the food and removes the fiber so that your body can process the nutrients more quickly and easily. Now, there's a gentleman by the name of Dr. William Courtney who specializes in the dietary uses of cannabis. And he's been studying juicing with cannabis in its raw form for several years. He's worked with over 7,000 patients. And it's pretty interesting because what he says is that cannabis is actually the most important vegetable on our planet because of its ability to boost your immune system and act as an anti-inflammatory and improve bone metabolism and even boost neural function. You know, it's loaded with all of these antioxidants, it's a complete protein, and it provides the perfect balance of omega-3s and 6s. So he actually feels that in its raw form, it should be treated as a dietary essential supplement because it actually helps all 210 types of cells function more effectively. And what's interesting is that it can also help prevent diseases that cannabis is actually used to treat when you're juicing it. So here are the 5 things that you need to know about juicing cannabis. Number 1 is the cannabinoid difference in juicing. So when you're juicing cannabis, you don't experience any of the psychoactive high effects. And the reason for this is that cannabis in its raw form, it doesn't have the psychoactive cannabinoid THC in it. Instead, it has the acid form, which is THCA. And it's only when you add THCA to heat that you get the cannabinoid THC. So because of this, you are able to consume much larger doses of this nutrient-rich plant, which helps you get more of the healthy benefits of the cannabinoids into your system without any psychoactive activity and effects. Plus, if your plant has high doses of CBD in its genetics, then you'll also have high percentages of CBDA in the raw plant, which is the acid form of CBD before it's heated. Number 2 is harvesting. So when you are juicing cannabis, you always want to use freshly harvested leaves and flower, or trim. Now from the time that you're harvesting, it's important to know that the plant material, it's going to start breaking down and losing some of its beneficial enzymes. In fact, what I've found is that after I pick just a couple cannabis leaves, within like 15 minutes, I start to see them wither up and wilt. So for this reason, you'll want to harvest your plant and then immediately go and juice it. Now you'll want to juice the leaves and the flower, or the buds, but not the stem, because the stem is actually quite fibrous and it can clog up your juicer if you try to juice it. Now, the best time to harvest your plant is when the plants are actually flowering, and some people feel that the 3rd week of flowering is the most ideal time. And as you're picking your leaves, you'll want to make sure that you pick the ones that are on the inside of the plant, because the ones on the outside are catching all the sunlight and they're helping your plant to grow and be strong. Now, when selecting your buds for juicing, you'll want to pick the ones where the THC glands are actually clear as opposed to amber. And as a rule of thumb, Dr. Courtney recommends, whenever possible, to take a cannabis juicing amount of 15 leaves and 2 large buds or flowers per day. And the size of a large bud would be somewhere between 2 and 4 inches in length. But just know that if you don't have bud to juice, leaves will work just as well. Now, number 3 is the device and technique. So you will want to use a wheatgrass juicer. These type of machines are basically, they're better for juicing more fibrous material so that your juicer doesn't get all clogged up. And it's good to know that the slower the juicer, the more efficient it tends to be, because it's getting every ounce of nutrients out of your plant versus quickly passing the plant through and then missing out on some of the material that can still be juiced. Also, when the juicer moves super fast, it adds oxygen to the juice, which immediately will start to degrade a little bit of the quality of the juice. And it's also going to make your juice just a little bit foamier. I also recommend getting an electric juicer and not a hand crank machine, because it takes a lot of cannabis leaves to make a small amount of juice and your arm will get tired. So here are 2 additional tips that I have for you in regards to the technique. So if you take your pulp that comes out of the machine that you've already juiced and you put it back through the juicer, you will actually get a little bit more juice out of it. And since it takes so much cannabis to create a small amount of juice, every little bit helps, and you'll definitely want to do this. And then my second tip for you is if you actually soak the cannabis leaves in some cold bowl of cold water for about 5 minutes before juicing, it's going to open up the pores of the plant and make it easier to juice as well. But you don't want to soak the buds so that you can preserve all the trichomes on the buds, just soak the leaves. Now, number 4 is consuming and storing. So as I hinted at earlier, it takes a lot of cannabis to make a small amount of juice, so you'll most likely be ending up with about a shot glass full. Now, personally, when I consume it, I love it. It tastes fresh, vibrant, it feels full of energy. I don't really mind the taste at all. It kind of reminds me of taking a wheatgrass shot. And if you haven't had a wheatgrass shot, it kind of tastes like freshly mowed grass that has a sweet and spicy finish to it. But that taste is not necessarily for everyone, so we do have some additional options for you. Number 1 is you can add some water or coconut water to dilute it a little bit. And number 2 is you can mix in some other type of veggie juice like cucumber or carrot to blend out the flavor. And when doing this, the juice is going to be most beneficial and definitely tastes better when it's consumed immediately. But some people will say that it can be stored in a fridge in a sealed container for about 3 days. However, what we have found is that when cannabinoids are left in a watery solution like tea or juice, they precipitate out of the solution and stick to the sides of the container over a short period of time. So that brings us to what I think is the best option, which is option number 3. And this is also my storaging tip for you guys, because most people are not going to be able to harvest and then juice on a daily basis. And there are also times of the year when your plant's just not ready to be harvested. So I found that the best thing to do is to make your cannabis juice and then to turn it into ice cubes, because then you can store them in your freezer. And there are different opinions on how long they last in the freezer. Some people will say 1 month, some people say up to 6 months, but either way, it's going to greatly extend the life of your cannabis juice. And then you can just add a couple of those ice cubes into your smoothie when you're looking for your daily dose of cannabis juice. Now, when I do this, I don't taste the flavor almost at all of the cannabis in the smoothie. And the cool thing is that the cannabinoids and terpenes, they're fat soluble. So when you mix them with something like fatty, that's like a yogurt or a coffee creamer or coconut oil, it reduces the risk of cannabinoids sticking to the sides of the container that we were talking about earlier. And it also helps with GI tract absorption. Now, the last one, number 5, is supply. So most dispensaries are not going to be able to offer cannabis trim to patients as of now. So the best thing to do if you're interested in juicing cannabis is to try to talk with a local grower if you know one, and ask if you can use their trim when they're done. Now, many of the growers are mostly concerned with the flowers or the bud and not so much the trim. That actually ends up getting wasted for a lot of growers. So there is a great chance that they might be willing to let you have the trim and use it for juicing. Now, if you go this route, you just want to make sure that the cannabis trim that you are getting is organic and doesn't have any sort of pesticides that are in it. Otherwise, your next best option is if you live in a state where it's legal to grow cannabis for patients with a recommendation, then growing your own is always going to be the best bet because it gives you the most access and the most freedom to pick and harvest whenever you need to. Now, it's important to note that the effects of juicing cannabis, they're not necessarily instantaneous. Like, for example, when you are ingesting heated cannabis. So I would tend to think of it more like taking a supplement. For some people, it can take up to a few weeks before your body starts to feel a shift from the juicing. And if this is something that you might want to try and you currently have a serious medical condition or you're taking prescription drugs, then I encourage you to talk with a medical provider first about using raw cannabis juice to help treat your specific symptoms before you start the whole juicing process, because there are certain people who might not be the best candidates for juicing with cannabis, such as people with kidney or gallbladder issues, or people who have hypercalciuria, or anyone that is on blood thinner medications as well. Now, we would love to hear from you guys. Have you ever tried juicing cannabis before? And if so, let us know what your experience was like and if you have any tips for anybody in the community. If you can let us know right in the comments below, that would be great. This way we can all learn from each other and grow as a community. And if you liked the episode, the way that we know that is by giving us the thumbs up and by subscribing to our channel so that you can catch our shows every Thursday. And as always, for any of your cannabis educational needs, you can head on over to learngreenflower.com where you can learn all about cannabis from the world's leading experts. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you next Thursday.
When you receive a devastating cancer diagnosis, life as you know it can change overnight. This past September, Lee's Language was diagnosed with not one, but 2 cancers, but she remains hopeful. After opening her doors to her grandchild, his mother, and another family member, Lee's has been striving to not only cope with her illness, but to minimize the impact it has on her family. She's an inspiration to many of her coworkers at Pioneer Manor, who appealed to us to help them with an act of kindness today.
We were actually invited here by your colleagues who say that you're a huge inspiration to them.
Well, you definitely have surprised me.
So, how long have you worked at Pioneer Manor?
I've been there since 1997. So, let's say almost 20 years. And I have started from the bottom and worked my way up a little bit. So I know what they do. I know what everyone works at. I know their job. I know how hard they work. Even though I'm ill and I'm not there, I'm there in spirit. And whenever I speak very highly of my coworkers because I love them.
And they love you very much because they reached out to us. We received numerous nominations for you, Lee's. And we want to give you a pat on the back today. We know that you opened your door to a few family members, right?
Yes, I have.
And, in despite of difficult times right now for you.
Yes.
Well, we're sending you some love back today. So through the generosity of the New Sudbury Center, we're hoping to lighten your financial load just a little bit for the holidays. So we have this gift basket for you as well, but we also have $200 for you to spend on food or clothing, whatever you want at the New Sudbury Shopping Center.
Thank you so much. You don't have no idea how much this means to me.
And Sears also wanted to help out too, so they put in $150 as well.
Oh my God, really?
Yes, and Tula from the Apollo restaurant wants to treat you to dinner. And we just hope that this helps out just a little bit for the holidays, and we hope that you have the most joyous holiday season.
Thank you so much. I don't know what to say. It really, really surprised me, and I do this because I love it. I do it because I want everyone to feel how I feel, to be inspired and to go on and to find what they've lost but didn't expect the payback. So this is a big, big surprise to me, and I want
a huge difference, Lee.
I want to thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to give everybody a hug?
I do. Oh my God.
I love you so much. You deserve this. Mwah.
Thank you so much. It's really difficult to be the recipient of something when you're not used to it. I'm always used to trying to help everybody else.
You're always giving.
Now it's like,
and now it's your turn.
What's up with this? And it's really hard to accept. But a huge thank you to all of you. I was really having a crappy day, and I don't know how to. You've turned it all the way around. I was like literally really emotional when Maria got here, and I wanted to cry. Saying, you know, I was in bed most of the day. I didn't really feel well, and it was just a bad day. Now look at, I'm overjoyed with what you've done. Oh, thank you so much.
Sudbury.com is very proud to announce that we will be continuing our acts of kindness in the new year. If you know someone who's deserving of an act of kindness, you can nominate them by visiting Sudbury.com/AOK. For Sudbury.com, I'm Heather Green Oliver.
There's an aspect about CannaFest that's quite obvious, and it's the canna in the fest. So we're going to take a quick peek over to where the canna is happening. Come on, bring it on for the camera. Don't tell anybody.
Woke up after 7 years in an empty cold bedroom. Lawyer's fees, shattered dreams, all that's left of you. Turn up my favorite Carrie song. Gonna undo all you done wrong. Hear the beat going bum, bum, bum. Hope this song won't never stop, stop, stop. Feeling stronger now with every strum. Guitar's good and loud to drown your memory out. All I need is the bum, bum, bum. I tore up your pictures, threw them all away. Took off my wedding band, watched it circle down the drain. Now Miranda is my vice. She gets me through another night. Hear the beat going bum, bum, bum. Hope this song won't ever stop, stop, stop. Feeling stronger now with every strum. Guitar's good and loud to drown your memory out. All I need is the bum, bum, bum. There was a time I'd shed a tear when you would cross my mind. I'm done, I'm through, I'm over you. So done, so through, goodbye. Hear the beat going bum, bum, bum. Hope this song won't ever stop. Hear the beat going bum, bum, bum.
jump 'em all's got us running in circles. Time is flying by while we're busy making big plans. Girl, we better slow down before it trips through our hands. 'Cause all we need, keep our love shine strong, clear and bright, aiming at me through the day and night. I shine it right back on you, and together we'll have the light to get us to that sacred place where both our hearts belong. Just keep your love shine strong. Sometimes we think we got the world on our shoulders, climbing uphill with a 10-ton boulder. All we gotta do is open up our eyes, find the light and let it guide the way. Hey, hey, keep our love shine strong, clear and bright, aiming at me through the day and night. I shine it right back on you, and together we'll have the light to get us to that sacred place where both our hearts belong. Just keep your love shine strong. Just keep that love shine strong. 'Cause all we need is to believe. Keep our love shine strong, clear and bright, aiming at me through the day and night. I shine it right back on you, and together we'll have the light to get us through. Shine strong, clear and bright, aiming at me, and we'll make it alright.
You know I love you, but sometimes it's hard to do. Just when you let me in, that's when you cut me loose. You say that you're all in, but it's got me questioning. Every time I get in close, there you go backing up again. There's no chance I'm leaving, that'd be way too easy, and I ain't going nowhere. You better try harder than that. I know your heart is hurting, but we can't move on living in your past. Those weren't my words, those weren't my lies. That was someone else from another time. And baby, all that's over, and I ain't going nowhere. I know you see it, but I can't change your mind. You put your guard up when this heart of mine is on your side. I wanna believe that we can make it if we try. I'll give it all I have, I'm not turning back, baby, this is do or die. There's no chance I'm leaving, that'd be way too easy, and I ain't going nowhere. You better try harder than that. I know your heart is hurting, but we can't move on living in your past. Those weren't my words, those weren't my lies. That was someone else from another time. And baby, all that's over, and I ain't going nowhere. someone else from another time. And baby, all that's over. And baby, all that's over. And I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere, nowhere.
The good that I want to is never what I do. Oh, the mind is willing, but the flesh is weak. The bad that I'm hating, the lion they're waiting between where I am and what I seek. And my heart, it longs to find salvation, but all my desires, they don't give a damn. Lord, can you help the miserable man that I am? I feel you reach me, reprove and teach me. Oh, why do you listen? Why do you care? You always protect me, never neglect me. And I know you hear every prayer. And my heart, it longs to find salvation, but all my desires, they don't give a damn. Lord, can you help the miserable man that I am? And I'd like to try. Could I take this world and just say goodbye? We can die to live, or we can live to die. And I'd like to try. Could I? Or is there more than this dying world I've been living for? Oh, the light that shines through the narrow door is the one that I've been looking for. And my heart, it longs to find your salvation, but all my desires, they don't give a damn. Lord, can you help the miserable man? that I am. Be tough. You gotta have a little faith in yourself when the going gets rough, and be thankful. Maybe it's a hard road that you've been driving on. The hurricane winds blowing, but trying to hold on. If we make a change, we can pave our way. So come on, chase those dreams, go big or go home. And in this life, you never can tell. You go from mountain highs, next day a rock bottom in a well. You're not alone. Maybe it's a hard road that you've been driving on. The hurricane winds blowing, but trying to hold on. If we make a change, we can pave our way. So come on, chase those dreams, go big or go home. Go big or go You gotta stay strong, you gotta be tough. You gotta have a little faith in yourself when the going gets rough, and be thankful. Maybe it's a hard road that you've been driving on. The hurricane winds blowing, but trying to hold on. If we make a change, we can pave our way. So come on, chase those dreams, go big or go home.
The rain keeps it coming and the flood waters up to the rafters.
And they're standing on the rooftops, praying for something that floats.
Ooh, somebody tell me now, why does it always take some kind of natural disaster
For us to realize we're all in the same boat.
When we got me feeling hopeful. There's gonna be a brighter tomorrow. Well, when we all come together, that's how we weather the sorrow. And it's got me feeling hopeful. There's gonna be a brighter tomorrow.
Brighter tomorrow. Gonna be a brighter tomorrow. If we all come together. Sun coming up again. Sun coming up again. Yeah.
500 miles, I had it all planned. Drove all day to ask your dad for your hand. I wrote it all out, I knew what I'd say. My heart, it was racing and my hands started to shake. But I took a deep breath and I said, I promise to love her with all that I have. I'll put nothing above her and won't turn my back. She's my everything, she's all I'll ever need, and she loves me at my worst. Sir, I give you my word. I promise to love her. Plays and I'm all a mess as I watch you walking towards me in that pretty white dress. Do you take this woman to be your wife, to have and to hold for the rest of your life? Well, I took a deep breath and I said, I promise to love her with all that I have. I'll put nothing above her and won't turn my back. She's my everything, she's all I'll ever need, and she loves me at my worst. I'm giving my word. I promise to love her and keep her, want her and need her, make her my whole world. And when that day comes, I'll come undone when that doctor brings in that little girl. I promise to love her with all that I have. I'll put nothing above her, and I won't turn my back. She'll be my everything and all I'll ever need, my little angel on earth. Lord, I give you my word. I promise to love her. I give you my word. I promise to love her.
She left the light on, she was waiting up.
looking out the window for my pickup truck. And when I walked in, it got under my skin when she asked what was her name. Of all things, she could have nailed me for staying out late, drinking with the boys, shooting that 8-ball, losing track of time. Dang it, I forgot to call. But what hurts me most is that she lost faith, thought I broke the vows we made. When all the beer in Alabama couldn't get me drunk enough to even think twice about someone else's love. I shouldn't blame her, it ain't her fault. I never found a straight line that I could walk. When I slipped on that ring, I made a list of things I promised her I'd quit. And I'll admit, she could have nailed me for staying out late, drinking with the boys, shooting that 8-ball, losing track of time. Dang it, I forgot to call. But what hurts me most is that she lost faith, thought I broke the vows we made. When all the beer in Alabama couldn't get me drunk enough to even think twice about someone else's love. I said I was sorry for what I put her through, but she wouldn't listen, didn't want to hear the truth. She could have nailed me for staying out late, drinking with the boys, shooting that 8-ball, losing track of time. Damn it, I forgot to call. But what hurts me most is that she lost faith, thought I broke the vows we made. When all the beer in Alabama couldn't get me drunk enough to even think twice about someone else's love. She left the light on, she was waiting up.
Always there wherever I am. There between what I'm reaching for and the fingers on my hand. Blocking myself with things like words I shouldn't say. It seems I'm always standing in my way. Like the time I told you a lie, and I became the wall that stood between your heart and mine. I apologize, but the truth is, the truth don't ever fade. It seems I'm always standing in my way. My way is the hard way, I guess. Guys like me say no and me mean yes. I'd step aside if I could, 'cause I live for your embrace. But it seems I'm always standing in my way. Why you stand beside me, I don't know. There's so many places girl like you could go. I hope you see enough in me to make you wanna stay. 'Cause it seems I'm always standing in my way. My way is the hard way, I guess. Guys like me say no and me mean yes. I'd step aside if I could, 'cause I live for your embrace. But it seems I'm always standing in my way. I'd step aside if I could, 'cause I live for your embrace. But it seems I'm always standing in my way. I'm always there wherever I am. There between what I'm reaching for and the fingers on my hand.
Yeah, I've been to prison 3 times, probably for about, I'd say 6 felonies, 7. In my adult years, I've probably done 14 years. You know, I gave my heart to the Lord about 18 years ago, and I would sit in church. You know, I'd look down at my tattoos, and I'd think, man, Lord, are there any way I could just get rid of these things? And then it's like, I don't know, He spoke to my heart that these are reminders of the sins I've committed. And it's, you know, he's washed the sin away, but the scars are always going to be there. But you know what? It don't matter. I'm who I am. God has changed me for the best, and that's what really matters.
Walking through the parking lot to the grocery store, I saw a woman walking up. I smiled and grabbed the door, but she won't look me in the eye. That don't come as no surprise today, 'cause I'm damn near covered head to toe with ink I picked up on the road, and a couple that I got done in the pen. And I see the way they look away when I come walking through. You wouldn't think I'd feel a thing, but sometimes I still do. But I promise that these old tattoos haunt me more than they scare you. But I'll still wear them proud every day. These old tattoos remind me of the sins the good Lord washed away. Good Lord washed away. This one here's the very first. I got it just 14. I got it when my Nana passed, the only one that cared about me. And after that, all I had was the bottle and cocaine to fill up. So on that day I hit the road, just a lost and wandering soul, and painted that whole journey on my skin. And I see the way they look away when I come walking through. You wouldn't think I'd feel a thing, but sometimes I still do. But I promise that these old tattoos haunt me more than they scare you. But I'll still wear them proud every day. These old tattoos remind me of the sins the good Lord washed away. Most are done with the smell of whiskey on my breath. And even though I was numb inside, I could feel it on my flesh. Most I can't remember, but the one thing I can't seem to forget is when I see the way they look away when I come walking through. You wouldn't think I'd feel a thing, but sometimes I still do. But I promise that these old tattoos haunt me more than they scare you. But I'll still wear them proud every day. These old tattoos remind me of the sins the good Lord washed away. The good Lord washed away.
No matter how I feel, how you feel is better. No matter what I say, what you say is smarter. And I don't know the words I need to say. No matter where I go, you're always one stride faster. No matter where I turn, you're always one turn further. And I don't know the road I need to take. Is it because you're always in my way? And I need to breathe fresh air sometimes. And I need to feel like this life is mine.
it is Sophia here. Hello everybody, my name is Sophia.
name is Sophia Gore and I have a rare form of osteosarcoma located in my pelvis.
I have just finished my very last chemo that I can ever have, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited right now because it is the last day ever of Proton, and that means we're leaving in 2 days, and I'm cancer free.
Hey, it's Chris. Welcome to Square One Module 2. In this module, I'm going to help you understand why you may have cancer, why the rates of cancer have exploded, and help you identify the specific cancer causers in our world and in your life that you may need to address to help your body heal. 70 to 95% of cancers are caused by diet, lifestyle, and environment. The sad reality is that the cancer industry knows what's causing cancer, but they're not interested in prevention and they're not addressing the causes. They just want to treat the symptoms because that's where the money is. This is where you come in, because with education and action, you can identify and remove many of these potential cancer causers in your life. The more you can reduce your body's toxic load, the better your odds of preventing and healing cancer. Now, the first thing on a cancer patient's mind after a diagnosis is, why me? Like, why did this happen to me? How did I get cancer? As I said in Module 1, cancer is the convergence of a multitude of health-destroying factors in your life that usually persist for a long period of time, usually many years, which is long enough to break you down and make you vulnerable to disease. I also told you that if you have cancer, you should assume that the way you're living is killing you. Not to blame you or shame you, but to empower you to change your life. Many of these cancer-causing factors can be removed, and your risk of getting a recurrence or dying from cancer can be greatly reduced just by your choices. Your choices matter. Now, we know that cancer has been around for thousands of years because researchers have found a few mummies with evidence of cancer, but the rates of cancer exploded after the Industrial Revolution. If you look at the way that most of us live on the earth today, especially those of us that live in Western industrialized nations, we live a very different life than our ancestors. Our diet and lifestyle is different. Our work habits are different. Our recreation habits are different. Our entertainment habits are different. It's all totally different. For most people, their cancer wasn't caused by one thing. There may have been many instigators, but there were many other factors in their life that contributed to cancer's development. Years ago, a study was published which found that the rate of cancer among Japanese smokers was nearly 7 times lower than American smokers. Why? Well, 2 reasons. One is the Japanese diet and lifestyle is healthier and more protective. And 2, Japanese cigarettes may contain less toxic chemical additives than American cigarettes. A healthier diet and lifestyle and less toxic exposure equals less cancer. There are 3 pillars of health. 1 is our diet and lifestyle, 2, our environment, and 3 is stress. Now, these are broad categories and we're going to drill down into them, but just in the beginning, understand that diet and lifestyle, environment, and stress are the 3 main causes of cancer and most types of disease. Now, there are 2 different types of disease. First is infectious disease, which is caused by a virus, bacteria, parasite, or pathogen, and causes diseases like measles, herpes, malaria, influenza. Infectious diseases are also known as diseases of poverty. In impoverished nations, third world countries, infectious diseases are leading killers to this day, primarily because they haven't been educated on hygiene, they don't have good sanitation practices. People in third world countries are eating dirty food, drinking dirty water that's loaded with viruses, bacteria, and parasites. In the early 1900s, infectious diseases were the leading killer in the United States, causing roughly 1/3 of all deaths, mainly in children under 5. Today, infectious diseases cause less than 5% of deaths in the US. So we've made huge strides in eliminating infectious diseases, mainly because of sanitation and hygiene. Simple things like washing our food, washing our hands, public water treatment, and regulations that prevent contamination in food production. Now, the other type of disease is called chronic disease. Chronic disease is also known as Western disease and disease of affluence. The reason they call chronic diseases Western diseases is because when they first began to discover them, they were only happening in Western nations, in first world countries, in industrialized societies. Chronic disease includes heart disease, diabetes, multiple sclerosis, autoimmune disease. There are dozens of diseases that are categorized as Western diseases. Most cancers are considered to be Western diseases. But according to the International Agency for Research on Cancer, 18 to 20% of cancers are linked to infections. This is from viruses like hepatitis B and C, HIV, Epstein-Barr, some lesser-known viruses like human T-cell lymphotrophic virus, Merkel cell polyomavirus, Kaposi sarcoma herpes virus, and bovine leukemia virus. Most of these viruses are spread by kissing, sexual contact, needle sharing, blood transfusions, organ transplants, and even sharing food or drinks or a toothbrush with someone who's infected. Some of them can be passed from mother to child during childbirth and through breastfeeding. If you've ever wondered what causes childhood cancer, here's one cause. ALL, the most common form of childhood leukemia, has recently been traced back to a specific virus called CMV, congenital cytomegalovirus, which is a form of herpes that can be passed from mother to child during childbirth. And children born with CMV are roughly 4 to 6 times more likely to develop ALL between the ages of 2 and 6. So it's estimated that about 80% of people carry the CMV virus. So some viruses can't be avoided, but if you engage in risky behavior like promiscuous sex or needle drugs, your odds of contracting multiple cancer-causing viruses is much higher. But don't freak out. Not everyone who contracts these viruses will develop cancer. As long as your immune system is strong, your risk is low. But viruses can lay dormant in your body for many years and then flare up and cause a problem because your immune system became weakened or suppressed for a long period of time. So this is why the things that you can control, like your diet, lifestyle, environment, and stress, are so important. A healthy body can keep viruses in check. There's one virus on the list that's a little different from the rest and can be avoided. That's the bovine leukemia virus. Bovine leukemia virus is a cancer-causing virus found in cow's milk and meat. It's widespread. 80% of small dairy farms and 100% of large dairy farms were found to be infected with bovine leukemia virus when milk supplies were tested in 2007. Now, pasteurization should render this virus harmless in milk, but you can also contract it from eating undercooked beef, as in rare or medium rare. A 2003 study found that 74% of people tested had been previously exposed to bovine leukemia virus. Here's where it gets really interesting. Researchers took breast tissue samples from women with breast cancer to test for bovine leukemia virus. And according to their findings, the presence of bovine leukemia virus DNA in breast cancer tissue was strongly associated with breast cancer. And as many as 37% of breast cancer cases may be attributable to bovine leukemia virus. This means over a third of breast cancers, that's over 80,000 cases a year, may be caused just by eating undercooked beef. H. pylori is a bacteria known to cause inflammation, ulcers, and stomach cancer. And the rate of H. pylori infection and stomach cancer is much higher in third world countries because of poor sanitation and hygiene practices. H. pylori also converts nitrites from cured meats into cancer-causing compounds in the gut. The top cancers in Western nations, lung cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, are considered to be Western cancers. Now, back to Japan. In 1955, the death rate for pancreatic cancer, leukemia, and lymphomas was 3 to 4 times lower than the US. The death rate for colon, prostate, breast, and ovarian cancers was 5 to 10 times lower. This was at a time when animal products accounted for less than 5% of the Japanese diet. Now, Japan is not an anomaly. There are many parts of the world with much lower rates of cancer than Western nations like the US, Canada, Europe, and Australia, especially where people are eating plant-based diets. You can actually go to a website called Globocan, and there's an interactive map that lets you see what the rates of any type of cancer in any country in the world are. And one example that may surprise you is Mexico. Mexico has half the overall cancer rates of the US. There are dozens of countries that have a third of the overall cancer rates of the US. And in more specific regions, it's even lower. There are over 20 African nations with a rate of colon cancer that's 5 times lower than the US. Mozambique is nearly 25 times lower. They don't have a genetic advantage. What they have is a diet and lifestyle advantage. They're living their lives in a different way, and they're eating foods that are protective. They're also not doing as many things that are destructive. Maintaining health requires doing two things simultaneously. Health is not doing things that are harmful to your body, and instead doing things that are beneficial to your body, like giving it the right fuel and raw materials that it needs to repair, regenerate, and detoxify. One of my heroes is Dr. Dennis Burkitt. Dr. Burkitt was an Irish surgeon who worked in African hospitals in the 50s and 60s after World War II. During his time there, he noticed that many of the common diseases in the US, Europe, and even South Africa were virtually non-existent among the rural Africans. The doctors in rural Africa weren't seeing colon cancer or Crohn's disease or hemorrhoids or colitis or heart disease or diabetes or appendicitis. There's a long list of cancers and chronic diseases common to Western nations that they weren't seeing at all. Now, this compelled Burkitt to research not only the Africans, but other cultures around the world to figure out why their diet and lifestyles were protective against Western diseases like most cancers, heart disease, and diabetes. Burkitt observed that the rural Africans ate a diet that was very high in fiber. His hypothesis was that their high-fiber diet was protective against colon cancer, heart disease, and many other Western diseases. And Burkitt's research is the reason dietary fiber became a household word in the 1970s. What we know now is it wasn't just the fiber. Like I said earlier, it was the things they were doing and the things they weren't doing that were producing optimal health for these people. So what were they doing? Well, the rural Africans were eating a diet that was very high in fiber. They were eating a starch-based diet, a plant-based diet. They weren't vegetarians or vegans. They were just people living in the African bush. They were living in small villages, and they were eating whole foods from the earth. They were living off starchy vegetables: beans, peas, lentils, corn, rice, potatoes, grains like millet, spelt, teff, wheat, and fruit when it was in season. They were eating root vegetables like carrots, beets, and turnips. They were eating cabbage and green leafy vegetables like collard greens and mustard greens. And they were eating very little meat and dairy. If you live in an African village, you don't have access to a grocery store to buy chicken or fish or beef whenever you felt like it. And there aren't any restaurants either, so if you wanted to eat meat, you had to kill an animal. You either had to catch it and kill it in the wild, or you had to kill an animal that you raised. If you raised chickens, you couldn't kill a chicken every night for dinner because you'd run out of chickens. So killing and eating the animals you raised was saved for special occasions. If you're killing a large animal like a cow or a pig, it means the whole village is having a feast. And killing animals in the wild is not that easy. You definitely aren't doing that every day. So eating animals was sparse. They might eat animals anywhere from a few times a week to a few times a month to a few times a year, depending on the region. These people thrived on starchy vegetables, simple, whole foods from the earth. They were also not eating white sugar, white flour, table salt, and oils. They were not eating anything in a package or a box. There was no fast food or junk food, no processed food. They were eating giant piles of beans and sweet potatoes. They were living on carbohydrates, high starch, high fiber, high carb, tons of plant food, and very little animal food, and zero man-made processed food. Western civilization consumes a ridiculous amount of meat, dairy, sugar, white flour, salt, and oils, not to mention all the artificial additives, preservatives, colors, flavors, taste enhancers, texture enhancers, and all the other junk they put in our food. The rural Africans also weren't eating any genetically modified food like GMO corn, soy, and canola, which are the three biggest GMO crops. 90% of the corn, soy, and canola grown in the US is GMO. If you pick up any fast food, junk food, or processed food and look at the ingredients, you're going to find corn, soy, and canola in almost all of it. So we're eating a lot of genetically modified food. Here's the GMO Cliff Notes. GMO crops are genetically modified to be resistant to weed killers like Roundup. The main ingredient in Roundup is glyphosate, which is classified as a probable carcinogen. And a major review of 44 scientific studies found that glyphosate exposure doubles a farmer's risk of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma because it disrupts normal white blood cell function and wrecks your immune system. But it's not just the farmers who need to worry because glyphosate can't be washed off. GMO crops that are sprayed with Roundup absorb the glyphosate and then you end up eating it. But wait, it gets worse. Farmers also spray glyphosate on non-GMO crops before they harvest to kill the crops and speed up the drying process. This includes conventionally grown wheat, millet, flax, rye, buckwheat, barley, oats, beans, peas, lentils, corn, potatoes, and more. Many experts now believe that widespread use of glyphosate, not grains, is the culprit behind the high rates of celiac, gluten intolerance, autoimmune disease, and many other digestive and physiological disorders. The rural Africans weren't eating any of the crazy stuff we're eating now, and they had really low rates of cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and many other Western diseases. That's proof that their diet and lifestyle was truly healthy. Here's a fun fact. Autopsies of our Paleolithic ancestors have consistently found starchy plant matter in their teeth and digestive tracts, like oats, not a belly full of bacon, butter, and coconut oil. Just like the rural Africans, population studies from China, India, the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and South America all show much lower rates of Western diseases. Those are the diets and lifestyles we should be imitating. Principle number one is we have to get back to a simple diet of whole foods from the earth that God made for us. We live and eat like kings. It's interesting, if you look at the lifespans of the kings of Europe, many of these kings had very short lifespans. Rich people got rich people diseases. Wealthy people got gout, heart disease, and cancer because of their diets. Our wealthy ancestors and kings were also often obese. Back then, obesity was a sign of wealth, and at one point in history, obese women were considered the most beautiful because it was a sign of their socioeconomic status. Today, we're eating nearly the same diet as the wealthy kings hundreds of years ago. Instead of eating a pauper's diet, we're eating a king's diet. Kings eat whatever they want, whenever they want. Kings can afford to eat 3 or more times per day, and they can eat expensive delicacies like meat and cheese at every meal. They can have desserts rich in fat, sugar, butter, cream, and oils. They can eat the finest, richest foods every day at every meal. They have access to all the wine, beer, and spirits they want. That sounds exactly like the Western diet, doesn't it? We're eating all the food we want, tons of meat, dairy, sugar, salt, and oils. But today, it's even worse because we have all the extra junk, the artificial additives, preservatives, flavors, and colors, and GMOs. Our modern diet is a king's diet, but worse. If you eat a king's diet, you're going to get king's diseases. I really want to hammer this home. You have to get back to a simple diet that is based on whole foods from the earth. You don't have to become a vegan or a vegetarian or take on some type of dietary identity or religion. You just have to start making good choices. We want to mimic the healthiest people on earth. We can learn from successful people, right? If you want to be successful in business, you study and implement the habits of successful business people. If you want to live a long, healthy, chronic disease-free life, then you study and implement the habits of large populations of people that are living long, healthy, disease-free lives. One of my favorite books is The Blue Zones. The Blue Zones was a National Geographic project started by Dan Buettner, who took a team around the world to study specific regions with exceptionally long-living people. The goal was to learn the secrets to long life and to essentially reverse engineer longevity. They identified multiple regions called blue zones with the highest percentages of people living past 100. This includes Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia, Italy, the Greek island Icaria, and Nicoya, Costa Rica. And surprisingly, there is actually one American blue zone, Loma Linda, California. What Salt Lake City is to the Mormons, Loma Linda is to the Seventh-day Adventists. It's kind of like their headquarters. Half of Adventists are vegetarian and about 8% are vegan. And the strict Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda have a much longer lifespan than the average American. The men live 7 years longer than the average Californian man and have much lower rates of many Western diseases, all because of their healthy diet and lifestyle. Another example is the China study. This is the largest population study of its kind. They collected data on every province in China, millions of people, to measure their rates of disease and examine their diets. And the gist of the China study is that rural China has much lower rates of cancer and heart disease than the US, and they eat a plant-based diet. They eat tons of rice, vegetables, and fruit, and very little animal products. Another book I love is Healthy at 100 by my friend John Robbins, which also examines the diet and lifestyle habits of healthy, long-living people around the world. Those 3 books are wonderful reads if you want to get a global perspective on health and longevity. Truth is simple, and the simple truth is that our diet and lifestyle choices can promote health or disease. You can dig your grave with your teeth if you so choose. Hopefully, you're starting to understand that what you put in your mouth will either promote disease or promote health. We have to change what we put in our mouth first. Before you run off to a cancer clinic in Mexico, before you take 1 million supplements, before you do a bunch of weird therapies that may or may not help you, you have to change your diet. Nutrition is the foundation of health. Circling back to Dr. Burkitt, after Burkitt observed that the rural Africans ate a high-fiber, high-starch, plant-based diet, he was curious about their bowel movements. He wanted to know how many times a day they pooped, how big their poops were, the consistency, and he wanted to know how quickly food moved through their bodies. So he weighed their poops, and they were twice as big as American poops. And they were soft, more like a cow patty than a log. Then he added special dye to their meals to measure their transit time, and he discovered that their average transit time from mouth to anus was 30 hours, basically 1 day. Now you can do the same thing with beets. Just eat a serving of beets with a meal, and then every time you poop, take a look at it, and at some point, your poop is going to be beet red. And it might scare you for a second, but don't worry, it's just the beets, and that's how you can measure your own bowel transit time. So Burkitt discovered that the average transit time for the rural Africans was 30 hours. He conducted the same test on Europeans and Americans, and their average transit time was 72 hours. It was taking nearly 2.5 times longer for food to make its way through their bodies. Why? Because Americans and Europeans were eating so much more meat, dairy, and refined processed food. A high-starch, high-fiber diet is easily digested and it moves through your body quickly. Meat, dairy, and white flour are slow movers and cause constipation. Even if you poop every day, you still may have a long transit time. You may think you're regular because you're going every day, but what you're pooping today may be what you ate 3 days ago. That's not good. Do the beet test and find out how quickly food is moving through your body. Now, there's an easy remedy to constipation, and that's to switch to a whole foods plant-based diet. Lots of fruits and vegetables, which are naturally high in fiber and starch. You don't need to take a fiber supplement, just eat lots of fruits and vegetables every day. By the way, Burkitt also did the same study on nursing home patients, and he found that their average transit time was about 2 weeks. 2 weeks! Can you imagine? Now, why is this so important? Like, why does transit time matter? Here's why. Your liver is one of your body's main detoxification organs. Your liver dumps metabolic waste into your digestive tract. When you eat food, whatever's not digested, like insoluble fiber, moves through your digestive tract and it absorbs that liver bile and carries it out the back door. Now, a high fiber, high starch diet does a really good job of absorbing those toxins that are secreted by your liver and carrying them out quickly. If you get a diet that's high in meat and dairy, it moves through very slowly, and the meat and dairy and whatever else you ate mix with the liver bile and it all putrefies and it creates toxic byproducts. Some of them are called fecal mutagens. What's grosser than gross? Fecal mutagens. These toxic byproducts irritate and inflame the lining of your digestive tract, especially your colon. They cause irritation and precancerous inflammation. And some of these toxins are reabsorbed into your bloodstream, so you end up in a vicious cycle of auto-intoxication. Your body's constantly reabsorbing some of the toxins that it's trying to eliminate because your bowels are moving too slow. If you feel like crap all the time, it may be because you're actually reabsorbing some of your crap. The abundance of vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and phytonutrients in food, especially fruits and vegetables, is an obvious benefit to a plant-based diet. The second benefit is the fiber and starch, which moves through your body quickly and helps you eliminate toxic metabolic waste before it can putrefy, cause inflammation, and get reabsorbed into your bloodstream. The principles of a healthy diet are simple, and we'll talk about specific foods you should be eating every day in the next 2 modules. But generally speaking, you just need to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, raw and cooked, and you need to minimize or eliminate animal products and all processed food. As the legend Jack LaLanne said, if man made it, don't eat it. Another problem we have is too much food. If you're watching this, you probably live in a Western nation with an unlimited food supply. With the exception of the homeless, even the poorest Americans rarely go a day without eating. So we have an unlimited supply of food, and our calorie consumption has increased significantly over time. According to the USDA, in 1909, the average American ate 3,400 calories per day, which, by the way, is still 1,000 to 1,500 calories more than most people need to eat. Today, the average American eats roughly 4,000 calories a day. It's 400 calories more per day than we were eating 100 years ago. This is why 2/3 of Americans are now overweight and 1/3 of Americans are now obese, because we're eating way too much. So now let's talk about body fat. Food is fuel. It's a source of energy. We eat food primarily to give our bodies energy to function. To understand why we're fat just takes a basic understanding of supply and demand economics. Your body has a certain requirement of calories per day, depending on your activity level. Calories are a measurement of energy that you get from food. If you consume more energy from food, more fuel, more calories per day than your body needs, it will store that energy for later as fat, which is a good thing. Before restaurants and supermarkets were on every corner, our ancestors would go through periods of food scarcity. They were growing their own food, raising livestock, and hunting. And guess what? A lot of food doesn't grow in the winter. And animals migrate or hibernate, so there was a lot less food available. If they ate a lot of food in the spring, summer, and fall when it was abundant, they might put on some weight. Then that extra body fat would be burned off in the winter when food was scarce. It would keep them alive. We don't have famines in the US, and we don't have food scarcity in the winter. We have an unlimited food supply, and we're overeating year-round. And most of us are gaining a little bit of weight, a few pounds a year or more, year after year after year. And there's a snowball effect. The heavier you get, the quicker you gain even more weight. This is why so many of us are overweight and obese. Obesity is the second leading cause of cancer. Cigarette smoking is the #1 cause of cancer. Obesity is #2. When you're carrying a lot of extra fat on your body, it's a huge burden to your system. Body fat produces a lot of excess hormones, which can promote inflammation and fuel cancer growth. An obese body is overworked and overwhelmed, which leads to the breakdown in optimal functions of various systems in your body, which leads to chronic diseases like high blood pressure, heart disease, kidney disease, diabetes, etc. Obesity weakens your body, and that creates an environment that's hospitable to cancer growth. Now, being overweight has never been a problem for me, but I did smoke cigarettes as a teenager and young adult. And cigarettes are the #1 cause of cancer, and not just lung cancer. There are many cancers that are related to cigarette smoking. Because when you smoke a cigarette, carcinogenic compounds go from your lungs into your bloodstream and circulate throughout your entire body. Colon cancer can be caused by cigarettes. For all I know, smoking cigarettes could have instigated cancerous cells in my colon. Then my unhealthy diet and lifestyle choices create an environment where that cancer could grow. If you smoke now is the time to stop, like today. Don't put it off. Don't switch to e-cigarettes. It's going to be a tough couple weeks of nicotine withdrawal, cravings, and detox, but there are way worse things. You're a grown-up. You can handle it. If you're not willing to quit smoking or chewing tobacco or drinking or using drugs, there's no point in doing anything else because those destructive lifestyle behaviors will sabotage your success. Now, if you're curious about some of the other changes in the American diet in the last 100 years, here they are. Our overall carbohydrate intake has actually come down about 4%, but the type of carbohydrates has changed dramatically. In the early 1900s, most of our carbohydrates were from whole foods like grains, beans, and potatoes. Today, our carbohydrates are from processed foods, white sugar, white flour, corn syrup, chips and fries, and sugary drinks. We've replaced whole foods with processed refined foods. And as a result, our fiber consumption has come down about 10%, but we still weren't getting nearly enough fiber in 1909. The rural Africans are getting about 3 times as much fiber as we did 100 years ago. They're getting 75 grams or more per day. We're also eating about 20% more animal protein than we were in 1909. It's unnecessary. We're eating 60% more fat than we were in 1909, primarily from oils. Polyunsaturated fat consumption is up 340%, which is found in corn, soybean, and sunflower oil, and fatty fish. Monounsaturated fats are up 70%, which includes olive oil, peanut, safflower, and sesame oils, and about 20% more saturated fat, mainly from butter and lard in animal foods. And we're eating about 10% more cholesterol. All totaled, our overall fat consumption is up 60% from excessive amounts of oils and animal foods. Now let's talk about why you need to eat organic food. When you eat conventional produce, you're eating pesticides, insecticides, fungicides, and herbicides like Roundup. Those are all toxic chemicals. They're poisoning you and injuring you a little bit every day. The USDA organic certification means that farmers did not use toxic chemicals to grow the food and that the food is not genetically modified. In January 2004, when I first started eating organic, it was really expensive and there was only one store in town, Whole Foods. Today, most major grocery stores have organic produce. Things have improved a lot and the prices have come down. But yes, making the switch from junk food and fast food to organic fruits and vegetables will cost you more money each week. But whatever sacrifices you need to make to afford it are worth it. We lived in a small 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. We didn't have cable. We didn't have running water. Just kidding. And we lived very frugally at that time because I decided that the most important thing I could spend my money on was on my food. That was priority #1, buying the healthiest food possible. I want you to have that same mental shift. An investment in your health is one of the best investments you can make. Eating healthy now is much cheaper than getting sick. It's much cheaper to buy organic pesticide-free produce than it is to pay a hospital bill. My colon cancer surgery was $17,000. Okay, now let's talk about water. In most Western nations, we're blessed to have clean water to drink. It's clean in the sense that it's treated to kill harmful bacteria and parasites, but it can still be toxic. Most cities in America are drinking water with chlorine and fluoride added. Those are two very toxic chemicals that can promote cancer in the body. The chlorine that they put in your drinking water is sodium hypochlorite. That's bleach. They put bleach in our drinking water. Now, this isn't some sinister plot to make you sick. They put the bleach in there to kill bacteria, which is a good thing. The problem is then you drink the bleach, which is a bad thing. You've got to filter your drinking water. Fluoride is also completely unnecessary. It was added to our drinking water as a public health effort when producers of fluoride, which was a toxic byproduct of industrial aluminum manufacturing and the phosphate fertilizer industry, convinced the government that we would have healthier teeth if they added fluoride to our water supply. It's completely unnecessary and does not make your teeth healthier. In fact, our family has not consumed fluoridated water, with the exception of the occasional water fountain or in a restaurant, in 12 years. And guess what? No cavities. We've also used fluoride-free toothpaste for 12 years. No cavities. I went to the dentist in November 2016 for the first time in 5 years, and he raved about my teeth. Healthy teeth come from a healthy diet. You will get all the fluoride you need from eating a whole foods plant-based diet, rich in fruits and vegetables. So you've got to filter your water. Besides chlorine and fluoride, there's all kinds of pollution in our water supply, from industrial waste runoff, pesticide and fertilizer runoff from commercial agriculture, and from the large-scale chicken, beef, and pork farms where they're pumping these animals full of antibiotics, and then the animal waste runs off into the water supply. Not to mention the lead and rust components from the pipes that may be bringing water to your house. There are hundreds of potential contaminants in our water supply, even if you have well water. So I highly recommend you invest in a really good filtration system. Most water filters remove very little. They remove some chlorine and some heavy solids, but that's about it. So reverse osmosis and distillers remove pretty much everything. But if you do a little research on the popular faucet filters and pitcher filters, you'll find that they don't filter much at all. In 2004, I bought a countertop distiller. I used it for many years. Eventually it started leaking and I switched to a Berkey water filter. The reason I like the Berkey, it removes 99.9% of hundreds of contaminants, and it has a fluoride attachment that removes 95% of fluoride and arsenic, which is another cancer causer. Plus, the Berkey's portable, doesn't require any water pressure or electricity, and the two main filters will purify 6,000 gallons of water, which means if you consume 10 gallons of water per week, they will last you about 11 years. I made a video called 5 Reasons Why I Love My Berkey Water Filter. You can watch it at chrisbeatcancer.com/Berkey. Okay, we've covered diet. Now let's talk about our lifestyle. We're living a very different lifestyle than the healthiest, longest living cultures around the world. Number one is being sedentary. We just don't move our bodies enough. Sitting is the new smoking because people who are seated for 8 hours a day or more are prone to health problems. When you're in motion, you're increasing circulation and burning calories. Activity promotes health. Movement is life. When you don't move, you promote disease. There's a very simple solution to this. You just have to move more. Take the stairs instead of the elevator every day. Walk, run, hike, dance, do yoga, rock climb, do karate. Any extra movement you can do will help you. You've got to move your body every day. I'll cover this in detail in the exercise and rest module, including the best exercise for your immune system, how much exercise you need each day, the types of exercise you want to avoid, and how to get optimal healing sleep. Another destructive lifestyle habit is substance abuse. Alcohol and illegal drug abuse are obvious health destroyers, but prescription drug use can be as well. We have an epidemic right now of prescription drug use and addiction. All prescription drugs have side effects. For starters, they're all hard on your liver, which is your body's main detoxification organ. Once your liver goes down, you're dead. Many of the most common prescription drugs, like blood pressure and cholesterol-lowering drugs and drugs for mood disorders, have significant long-term effects in the body. Drug companies are one of the biggest advertisers on TV. And if you pay attention to the drug commercials, it's not uncommon to hear in the disclosure that many of these drugs may cause certain types of cancer. This includes birth control drugs, fertility drugs, psychiatric drugs, digestive disorder drugs, and hormone replacement therapy. Any prescription drug could be suspect. Read the warning labels carefully. If you're taking multiple prescription drugs, then your odds are even higher because there's a synergistic toxicity that happens when in your body when you're taking multiple drugs. Something else you need to know. There are over 100 prescription drugs that inhibit the production of melatonin, which is one of the most powerful anti-cancer hormones in your body. Melatonin stops cancer growth, but it's only produced at night when you sleep. This is also why it's common for people who take prescription drugs to suffer from insomnia. Even if you don't take prescription drugs, if you stay up late every night, you're not getting good quality healing sleep. If you're a workaholic and you're working 18 hours a day and getting 6 hours of sleep or less, then you're chronically sleep deprived and your health will suffer for it. Melatonin is a key component of cancer prevention and healing. Now, I realize getting off prescription drugs can be tricky, and quitting cold turkey can even be life-threatening depending on the drug and your medical condition. If that's your situation, I want to encourage you to share this goal with your doctor who can work with you to hopefully reduce some of your doses now and help you get off prescription drugs over time as your health improves. Remember, you might feel lousy for a week or more while you're breaking your body's dependence on prescription drugs. But once your body fully detoxifies and adapts to functioning without drugs, you will feel good again. Okay, so let's recap. The diet and lifestyle habits that promote cancer are smoking, drinking, illegal drug use, prescription drug use, being sedentary, and lack of sleep. I eliminated every negative lifestyle habit in my life. For some of you, this may sound like a daunting task, but don't be overwhelmed. I did it, and you can do it too. And I'm going to walk you through it step by step in the rest of the Square One course. Circling back to what I said at the beginning of this module, there are 3 pillars of health: your diet and lifestyle, your environment, and stress. So let's talk about factor number 2, environmental pollution. We live in a world full of toxic chemicals. There are over 80,000 man-made chemicals in our environment. Thousands of new chemicals are approved every year by the government, and many of these chemicals do not have adequate safety testing. Some of them are known carcinogens. Many of them are industrial and agricultural chemicals, and some are pharmaceutical drugs like certain chemo drugs. We're being bombarded with cancer-causing industrial chemicals. Next, we've got toxic pollutants in our environment, like air pollution from automobile and industrial exhaust. LA has a notorious smog problem from pollution. But you may be surprised to know that American cities don't even crack the top 1,000 most polluted cities on Earth, according to the WHO. Cities in India, Saudi Arabia, China, and Russia have some of the worst pollution. But it doesn't take much to make you sick. So it's important to take a look at your environment. Do you live in a polluted area? Are you breathing toxic fumes? We used to think that living out in the country was a healthy place to live. Not necessarily. If you're surrounded by conventional farmland, then you're bombarded with toxic pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and fertilizers. You may work in a toxic environment. If you work in a factory around industrial chemicals, paints, varnishes, solvents, and plastics, and you're breathing in smoke and fumes every day, these are potential cancer causers. If you're a mechanic working around gas, oil, lubricants, antifreeze, engine exhaust, Even hairdressers have elevated rates of cancer because they're breathing the fumes from bleaches, dyes, straighteners, hairspray, nail polish, all of the chemicals in beauty products. Even working in a print shop or a copy place where you're breathing printer ink all day long could be hazardous. Dry cleaning chemicals are notoriously toxic. I just found out a few months ago that the groundwater under the house I lived in when I had cancer has been polluted for years by chemicals from a former dry cleaner around the corner. It's important to take a hard look at any toxic chemicals you may be exposed to at work or at home. Incense, candles, and air fresheners may smell nice, but they also put out toxic smoke and chemical fumes. Get rid of them. Diffusing essential oils is a much safer alternative. While you're at it, it's a good idea to replace any toxic chemical cleaning products with natural, non-toxic ones. Laundry detergent, dish soap, spray cleaners, Dr. Bronner's, Earth Friendly, and EcoVert are a few top-rated green cleaning products that I like. Also, check your house for toxic mold and radon. Toxic mold can make you very sick and vulnerable to cancer, and radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer besides smoking, causing about 10% of lung cancer deaths in non-smokers. Mold and radon test kits are inexpensive, and you can buy them on Amazon and at many hardware stores. Finally, in addition to the toxic chemicals that you may be putting in your body, there's also the chemicals you're putting on your body. Your skin eats what you put on it. If you're putting body care products on your skin, lotions, potions, creams, makeup, toners, your body is absorbing that stuff into your bloodstream. The ingredients in personal care products are largely unregulated and can contain known cancer causers like formaldehyde and endocrine disrupting chemicals like phthalates and parabens. There's no way to test the long-term safety of putting all of these chemicals, soaps, lotions, shampoo, conditioners, moisturizers, perfumes, and deodorants on your skin and into your bloodstream every day for decades. This is a concern for everyone, but more so for women because they use a lot more body care products than men. So your best bet is to switch to verified, non-toxic brands and use as little as possible. Healthy, beautiful skin is created by your diet from the inside out. You can research non-toxic skincare, makeup, and cleaning products on the Environmental Working Group website. That's ewg.org. They have a searchable database with thousands of products. It's a great way to find clean, non-toxic home and body care products. If you have cancer, or if you want to prevent cancer, you need to reduce your toxic load as much as possible. Every little bit helps. Like I said in the beginning of this talk, cancer is the convergence of multiple health-destroying factors in your life and in your body. If you imagine the effect of all these pollutants coming into your body every day, well, the more you can eliminate, the better. The harder your body has to work at detoxification, the less energy and capacity it has to prevent or heal cancer. If you're constantly overeating, putting tons of toxins in and on your body, and breathing toxic fumes, your body is working overtime every day to process all the junk that's coming in. And just like a factory, if everybody's working overtime with no breaks, then problems are going to arise, but everyone's too distracted to notice. And that's how cancer goes undetected in the body. 70 to 95% of cancers are caused by diet, lifestyle, and environmental factors. The sad reality is the cancer industry knows what's causing cancer, but they're not interested in prevention and they're not addressing the causes. They just want to treat the symptoms because that's where the money is. The more you can reduce your body's toxic load, the better your odds of preventing and healing cancer. Now, some things you can change quickly, like exercising every day, switching to an organic diet, getting rid of all the toxic stuff in your home, like the body care products and chemical cleaning products, air fresheners, candles, incense. But other changes take time, like getting off prescription drugs, or changing jobs, or moving. Remember, this is a process. The goal is not perfection. The goal is continual improvement. All the small changes you make will add up to a big change over time. So don't let the changes you need to make overwhelm you and stress you out. Just make a to-do list and get after it. The 3 pillars of health are diet and lifestyle, environment, and stress. Stress is so important that I dedicated an entire module to it. In Module 7, I'll show you how to identify and eliminate the harmful, health-destroying stress in your life. Stress is the X factor in cancer. It's the one thing that can outweigh everything else you do. Don't skip Module 7. For some of you, it will be one of the most important modules in the entire course. Now, the next 2 modules are all about the anti-cancer diet. I'll show you exactly what I ate every day to help my body heal cancer, along with the nutritional science that supports it all. This is a simple, powerful, proven dietary protocol featuring the most potent anti-cancer fruits, veggies, herbs, and spices. My simple daily anti-cancer routine, juicing and smoothies, raw food versus cooked food, whether or not you should eat animal protein, and more. Don't miss the anti-cancer diet modules. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.
Hello, it is July 5th, 2017. My name is Stacy Couch. I was diagnosed with a stage 4 follicular lymphoma August 18th, 2016. I decided to forego any treatment, mainly because when I was told, I had a voice screaming in my head, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And also a couple things. I've got a real issue with doctors and hospitals and that kind of stuff. And everyone pretty much that I've known that has ever had chemotherapy has died. I watched my mother go through 6 years of treatment for breast cancer. I watched a vibrant 64-year-old woman succumb to her treatments at the age of 69 and die. And I've decided that that's not what I'm going to do. So I took it into my own hands, and I was very, very fortunate that one of the very first websites I came across was Chris Beat Cancer and the Square One modules. And I'm going to cry again. And I can easily say that it wasn't for Chris. And those modules, that wouldn't be here. It saved my life. Whenever I was feeling really weak, I would go back and read them again. And really, the information that I got from those was life-saving and empowering. And I'm so sorry he had to do all that by himself. It's horrible. Because you don't know what it's like until you get told and it happens to you. So thank you, Chris, and your family for doing what you did, because it saved my life.
Hey, it's Chris. I'm so excited that you decided to tune in to the Square One Encore Weekend, and I want to make sure you know what's happening. This weekend only, all 10 video modules are back online for you to watch for free. And I want to encourage you to watch as much as you can and take as many notes as possible, because the information in this program is powerful and can transform your life if you put it into practice. Square One has gotten thousands of rave reviews. If you haven't already, check out the comments below this video. There are many Square One owners and members who have shared stories of healing cancer using the same methods outlined in Square One. Now, the Encore Weekend ends Sunday night at midnight. So if you want to own Square One forever, if you want to use it to change your life, and if you want to have it to share with people that you care about, then you should buy it to own. Here's what's included. You get all 10 video modules, either online or on DVD or both. You get downloadable audio modules to listen to on the go. You get the transcripts book, which has a topical index for quick searches, and you also get the Square One guidebook. The guidebook has the recipe guide, the supplement guide, the daily schedule, the healthy home guide with the list of all the non-toxic products we use in our home, makeup, body care, cleaning products, and more. The guidebook also has my Cancer Clinic Rolodex, which is a list of alternative and integrative doctors and clinics that I have confidence in. And it includes excerpts from my prayer journal from 2004 and 2005. So there's a ton of awesome stuff in the guidebook. You also get 3 bonuses. You get access to our private online support group where you can connect with other people who understand you, that will help you and support you on your healing journey. And you'll see the amazing healing testimonials that are coming in constantly. The Square One support group is just incredible. You also get access to 6 private live video Q&A calls for Square One members. Each Q&A is 2 hours long, and I'm usually able to get to every single question. Plus, I have a Q&A video archive in the members site, so all the Q&As I've done are in there. The third bonus is you get the digital buddy pass. That's a bonus digital copy of Square One that you can give to someone you care about. They can download the videos, the MP3s, the transcripts book, the guidebook, the entire course. So you're basically getting 2 for the price of 1. If you buy Square One to own, you have 3 options: digital, physical, and the combo package. The digital package gives you online access to the Square One membership site where you can watch and download all the videos, the guidebook, the transcripts book, the whole course. The physical package gives you all 10 modules on DVD and printed copies of the Square One guidebook and transcripts book shipped to your door. And then the combo package gives you everything: online access to the entire program in the membership site, plus we ship you the DVD set and the 2 books. That's actually the best deal. And yes, all 3 packages include the bonuses: access to our awesome online support group, the 6 live Q&A calls for members, and a bonus digital copy to give to someone you care about. Now, this is important. The 50% off discount on all 3 packages has been extended through the Encore weekend. But on Monday morning, I'm turning in all the orders to be printed and shipped in one big batch so we don't keep anyone waiting. Doing it this way also saves a lot of money, and that's why the price is discounted right now. But Sunday night at midnight, the discount ends and the price will go back up. I put a 6-month satisfaction guarantee on this program because it takes time to change your life. It takes time to implement the nutrition and lifestyle changes that I lay out for you in Square One. You need to go through the modules multiple times. You need to spend time in the support group and get on the Q&A calls to get your questions answered. It takes time to restore your health. And I want to make sure you don't have any reservations about jumping on this. So if for any reason in the next 6 months you would like a refund, I will give you a refund. I just want to help you, and if I can't help you, I'll give you your money back. Sound good? I'm so glad you're watching the Encore weekend. Watch as much as you can, take as many notes as you can, and please take advantage of the 50% off right now because the price is going back up Sunday night at midnight. Okay, well, I think that pretty much covers it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.
5 ways to fight chemo brain. It's one of the most dreaded side effects of breast cancer treatment. Chemo brain. Even the name sounds like it was dreamed up by a supervillain. Chemo has stolen your strength, appetite, physical appearance, and now it seems to be taking your mind. Your last bastion of strength, your wit, is being attacked by the very treatment meant to help you feel better. But relax, take a deep breath. The truth is that chemotherapy is likely not the cause of chemo brain. But more importantly, the mental effects of cancer treatment are usually only temporary. You can get your memory, concentration, and wit back as you recover from treatment. Cognitive changes include short-term memory loss, the speed we process information, and organizational challenges. However, even subtle changes can dramatically impact a woman's way of life. Forgetting names, trouble concentrating, and problems planning ahead have real daily impacts. The changes can be subtle. Even if family and friends fail to notice a difference, many women report feeling slower and less mentally capable. But first, we'd like to thank our sponsor, the company who developed Breast Cancer Index, a test that may help women with ER-positive, early-stage breast cancer decide with their doctors whether to extend or end anti-estrogen therapy after 5 years. Number 1, stimulate your mind. Memory training programs have been shown to improve cognitive function, meaning that exercising your brain will have a real impact. Bend your brain around crossword puzzles, learn a new language, or play memory games. Devote some of your energy to critical thinking or mentally challenging board games. There are even specialty training programs for combating the mental effects of chemotherapy. Number 2, avoid distractions. As important as doing your mental exercises is finding a place to do them. Peace, quiet, and somewhere to concentrate is crucial. We tend to forget the impact our surroundings have on our ability to retain information. This is why feeling comfortable in a stress-free environment is important for both your memory and overall health. Number 3, organize your environment. Proactively organizing is another mental activity designed to build memory retention. This helps you not only track down your stuff, but test your memory when it's time to find the right things. In the chaos of post-surgical therapy, staying organized can be hard. That's why we think it's the perfect activity to clear your mental fog as well as your personal space. Number 4, practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is a common practice for women recovering from breast cancer or going through treatment. Classes teach women to be mindful of their present state, in the moment, without letting their mind wander to the future or past actions. By staying conscious of what you do, you're less likely to misplace your keys, forget a situation, or question your own decisions. Classes are often free through your local clinic. Number 5, do what you like. It's simply human nature to forget the things that we dislike. Do you miss your women's groups, exercise routine, or cooking classes? Has it been a while since you've got back to the things you're passionate about? Sometimes being separated from what makes us happy leads to pent-up negativity, which only adds stress to an already frustrating problem. You can build back your memory, but it takes determination. Despite how you feel right now, the effects from cancer on your memory are usually temporary. The fogginess will fade with each new day, so take heart. By using these tips, you can speed up your recovery even more. Be sure to see a doctor if you have any questions about chemobrain or feel you may have a more serious mental condition. To get more practical tips for breast cancer patients, be sure to subscribe to Breast Cancer Answers here. And leave your own questions in the comments below. We'll do our best to answer your questions in future videos. Finally, we'd like to thank our sponsor, the company who developed Breast Cancer Index. To find out more about your treatment options beyond your 5, just click the button and download our free list of 15 questions to go through with your doctor.
This time, this is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. Losing friends and I'm chasing sleep. Everybody's worried about me. In too deep. Say I'm in too deep. And it's been 2 years. I miss my home, but there's a fire burning in my bones. Still believe. Yeah, I still believe. And all those things I didn't say, wrecking balls inside my brain. I was screaming loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. A lot of fight left in me. Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song.
No, I've still got a lot of fire left in me.
This is my fight song, dedicated to all those fighting cancer, and also to her dad, who's a Toledo firefighter. Where's Dad at? Oh, right down here in front. Nice to see you, Dad. Stand up. You're a firefighter. You're a hero to us. Good to see you. Thanks for what you do. One great young lady and a beautiful young lady, too. Give it up for Callie.
Substance into her body in hopes that it will heal her.
Poison to heal. As Linda Mays reports, this woman made this choice when she was told her condition was terminal.
Ann Mewborn is alive.
breathing, working, and enjoying life. The 58-year-old was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer with no treatment option.
You have stage 4 cancer. It's in your liver, it's in your lung, it's in your bones. You have a lesion on your brain, but not in your brain. How much time? He said 6 to 8 months.
Now, 17 months later, and paperwork to prove it, she credits God for life, but also her boss and this blue-bottled substance someone just happened to tell her boss about called escazine.
It's blue scorpion venom that comes out of the Dominican Republic.
ABC News went to the Dominican Republic to investigate the blue scorpion venom extract in November 2013. This is video of where the product maker MetaLife makes escazine.
I started taking it. Within 4 to 5 days, my stomach pain subsided. My bone pain subsided. After a couple of weeks, my energy levels started going up.
Look at this copy of Mewborn's 2014 lab results revealing her cancer marker levels.
This was my marker in July before the escazine, but then in September, 59. And you just draw it up like this, and you take it and you just squirt it under your tongue.
She takes escazine 4 times a day, but how does this nearly $700 bottle of blue scorpion venom fight Mewborn's cancer cells?
It paralyzes the prey, so it paralyzes the cancer cells, so the cancer cells can't communicate with each other and multiply.
With it being expensive, and with Ann just being the nice person she is, she backed off of it and thought that might last her, and her markers started to go back up again, and then she was approved for a new kind of chemo treatment. And she took that for a little while, markers still kept going up, and I said, look, I know you're out of the escazine, you ought to order that again.
By then, Mewborn was having vision trouble in her right eye.
Cancer that was putting pressure on my optical nerve that was affecting my vision, so I couldn't see. Got another dose of the escazine, started taking it, and now the spot is gone.
She says an MRI confirmed changes in less than 2 weeks.
The lesion had shrunk on my brain.
Now look at these 2015 cancer marker levels report.
This year,
it was 216.8.
Yes.
In August this year, it's down 136.1.
It's living, and it's like, oh my God, you can live and you can feel good, and here's the proof.
Now, Mewborn says that she has never missed a day of work. She has not lost any of her hair. She has not been bedridden or had any of the common side effects that come with many of the cancer therapies.
I'm looking at that blue bottle there, right there for her. It's saying that it's life-saving, but it's not a one bottle fits all.
It is not. Each patient, they have to submit their own medical records to the company, and the potency of the scorpion venom is custom-made to that patient's disease level.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And how long does she have to take it?
She will have to take it indefinitely.
For the rest
if she
of her life.
wants to keep that cancer out, down, those markers down, she'll have to take it indefinitely. Now,
so it's not a cure.
She doesn't call it a cure, but it works for her, she says.
Yeah.
All I know, it works for her. And also, the importance of her boss. He volunteers to pay for her medicine.
Oh, we did not know that.
Yes, he volunteers. He says, Ann's family.
Wow.
Yeah.
A combination of cannabis oil and chemotherapy healed this man's incurable, inoperable lung cancer. Now, he's paying it forward by helping others heal their lives too. Not too long ago, a 50-year-old man from Illinois was diagnosed with incurable, inoperable lung and pericardial heart sac cancer. The doctors told him he had about a year to live, but could opt to undergo chemotherapy to extend his life. As you may or may not know, the survival rate of lung cancer is incredibly grim. It is estimated that the prognosis for stage IA non-small cell lung cancer is less than 50%. Sadly, this drops as the cancer progresses. For a stage 4 patient, the likelihood of recovery is 1%. Aware of the odds against him, patient Darren Miller decided to supplement his chemotherapy treatments with cannabis oil. Clearly, he didn't just want to extend his life, he wanted to save it. After researching the benefits of cannabis oil and reading hundreds of other people's personal stories of healing, Miller was confident the treatment was right for him. Miller's wife quit her job so they could qualify for medical assistance, and they moved to California where he could supplement with the controversial treatment legally. 7 months later, Darren is officially cancer-free and has the hospital documents to prove it. He told an affiliate of CBS News, "Today, which is 7 months later, they tell me I am completely cancer-free, not remission. I've cured my cancer. Now, am I giving credit to the cannabis oil? Absolutely. Am I giving credit to chemo? I would have to say yes too. I did both." After recovering from the incurable cancer, Miller and his wife moved back to Illinois. He now runs a compassionate cannabis program to help others who are struggling like he was. "What we're doing is we're just making small amounts to keep it around and educating others on how to do this," he said. "Because if you have access to any kind of cannabis, I can give you links on my site to show you how to do this in your own kitchen and save your life." Darren is not the only individual to have benefited from cannabis oil, and he certainly won't be the last.
Everything about you hear about Parkinson's is that it just, it just keeps going, and it just keeps making different parts of your body not function, and you lose control of the nerves and everything. And I thought CBD with all the research was the answer, but then when it didn't work, I was really confused, not sure where to go. This was my last hope.
This is how I woke up this morning. This is how it usually is. I'm gonna take my little pill, which you're not gonna be able to see because my hands are shaking so badly, but there is just a tiny, tiny drop in there of the medicine.
And I thank God that it worked, because it has just amazingly, you could just feel the calm. Even with the first dose, within the first hour, I could feel the calm come over me, and the hands stopped shaking.
So it's been about half an hour since I took my dose, and this is what you have. Totally calm, totally able to hold my hands still, totally able to grab things.
Everybody that's watched this transition has seen the difference in my face. I can hold a thought, I can hold a conversation with you. Prior to RSO, I couldn't hold a conversation with you. I'd lose my train of thought every minute or so. I'd be like, wait a minute. So it's my whole body is benefiting from this, not just the Parkinson's, but the Parkinson's it's stopped it.
This is amazing. This is so amazing. I can't even begin to tell you. For 9 months, my hands have shaken and shaken and shaken and shaken, and the pain inside my body has just been incredible. And your product is just amazing. Thank you so much.
There's no shaking. This is day 4 that I woke up with absolutely still hands. I didn't have to have somebody pour me a glass of water. I didn't have to have somebody, do anything for me. It's amazing that I get to do these things for myself again. So, this is RSO. It's just a little bit, it's very sticky, dark oil. I use a clear gel cap, which you can get on Amazon. You get it like 1,000 for $2, $3, something like that. And I just scoop, it's a pinhead size, and that's it into the gel cap. And then put the top on. And that's it. That's all I have to do for my dose. That's so little medication. Absolutely fantastic.
From Boogie2988 to Furious Pete, today we bring you 5 YouTubers that survived cancer. At number 5, we have Furious Pete. Furious Pete is a Canadian competitive eater of Polish descent. He currently holds 9 Guinness World Record in eating and is also a YouTuber with 3.5 million subscribers. Well, in 2014, Furious Pete was diagnosed with testicular cancer. He was booked for a surgery as fast as possible. His surgeons told him the cancer hasn't spread, but the faster they did the surgery, the more chance he has of being cancer-free. Furious Pete did radiation treatment for every single day. Then around the end of the year 2015, he became cancer-free. Coming in at number 4, we have Boogie2988. Boogie is a YouTuber with over 3.5 million subscribers and is known for his comedy while acting as Francis. Well, Boogie was diagnosed with basal cell carcinoma cancer. Basal cell carcinoma is a type of skin cancer. It is the most common form of cancer in the United States. In his case, he was pretty lucky. As he saw some sort of thing on his nose, he went to the doctor to take care of it immediately. After getting checked with a doctor, he had his cancer removed within a couple of weeks. At number 3, we have Total Biscuit. Total Biscuit is a British gaming YouTuber with over 2.2 million subscribers. In late April 2014, he released a video announcing he had a pre-cancerous mass in his colon, the first indication of bowel cancer. In October 2014, he went through an operation to remove the mass. In 2015, his test came back and had no evidence of additional existing cancer. January 2016, he reported that his latest scan has shown a significant reduction in tumor mass with no additional spread to other organs. Coming in at number 2, we have CTFXC, a daily vlogger with over 1.5 million subscribers that holds the Guinness World Record for vlogging 2,200 days without missing a single day. In March of 2012, he was diagnosed with a brain tumor after having a seizure. After his successful surgeries, the doctor did end up removing 98% of the tumor. He has since gone through numerous rounds of chemotherapy and attends numerous doctor appointments in order to monitor the tumor. The tumor had remained the same, and this is deemed to be a good sign. At number 1, we have Nikki Glamour, a vlogger and a motivational channel with over 150,000 subscribers. Nikki comes number 1 on our list. At the age of 15, she noticed that she has a bump on her left shoulder. It was the size of a tennis ball. She told her mom and they both went to the doctor immediately. After visiting the doctor, he told her that the possibility is that she has a cancer, and after running the test, the doctor was sure that she had cancer. Nikki went in surgery the same week, and after removing the tumor, the doctor came back and told her that in my 25 years of tumor specialist, I have never seen this happen. What he was telling her that after the surgery, she doesn't have a single cancer cell in her body left, and she was cancer free. She didn't have to go through chemotherapy either. Either this was a miracle or an angel looking after her, she stated. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys later.
is Sophie. Hello everybody, my name is Sophia.
Welcome to Square One Module 3. In this module, I'm going to tell you what to eat and what not to eat. We'll start with the basics of anti-cancer nutrition, and then we'll get into the specific foods that you need to be eating every single day. So let's get started. First up, what not to eat. If you think about the way we're living now,
Third year, best ever. Gotta love it. Come again.
In curing the body, if in the process you destroy the soul.
What do you call 100 years of saving lives? At City of Hope, we call it a great beginning. We started out in 1913 in 2 humble tents in Duarte, California. People suffering with tuberculosis came to be treated in the fresh air of the San Gabriel Mountains. They experienced a new level of compassionate care, best expressed in the 1930s by Executive Director Samuel Goulter.
There is no profit in curing the body if in the process you destroy the soul.
In the 1950s, with tuberculosis a thing of the past, City of Hope grew dramatically under the inspired leadership of Ben Horowitz. Known as the Architect of Hope and an advocate for basic research, he helped transform City of Hope into a modern-day medical center dedicated to curing cancer and other life-threatening diseases. That's when the breakthroughs began to happen. Our doctors designed the cobalt bomb for treating tumors deep inside the body. It became the prototype for all other hospitals. When word spread of the amazing scientific discoveries going on at City of Hope, famous people came to see and lend their support. This helped raise City of Hope's profile and attract more of the world's finest doctors, scientists, nurses, and caregivers. At City of Hope, we've always felt the urgency to create new drugs and treatments in the fight against cancer and other life-threatening diseases.
We have these very brilliant scientists who come up with ideas that are going to have practical applications to patients. We have our own bioproduction facility on campus. We can make all the things that we need to the highest FDA standards. It represents not just good science, but the wedding of good science with good care.
She cleaned homes and kept
Cash, Joe, Randy Howard.
It's easy to get caught up in a world full of hurdles, but trying to jump them all's got us running in circles. Time is flying by while we're busy making big plans. Girl, we better slow down before it slips through our hands. 'Cause all we need, keep our love shine strong, clear and bright, aiming at me through the day and night. I shine it right back on you, and together we'll have the light to get us to that sacred place where both our hearts belong. Just keep your love shine strong.
She cleaned homes and she kept children, and we wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she kept. She cooked for families, and we ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for. These were very kind and generous people. They would say, Mamie, whatever food is left over, you can pack it up and take it home to those children that you have adopted. And I used to walk around these big, beautiful mansions, and I'd say, Mama. And she said, what is it, Leslie? When I become a man, I'm going to buy you a big, beautiful home just like this. How many have some? She cleaned homes and she kept children, and we wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she kept. She cooked for families, and we ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for. These were very kind and generous people. They would say, Mamie, whatever food is left over, you can pack it up and take it home to those children that you have adopted. And I used to walk around these big, beautiful mansions, and I'd say, Mama. And she said, what is it, Leslie? When I become a man, I'm going to buy you a big, beautiful home just like this. How many have somebody special you'd like to do something for? Raise your hands, please. Very good. We're going to show you how you can make that happen. Now I want you to think about your financial goals, growing your business, advancing your career, taking your life to the next level. I want you to think about the goals that you've set for yourself, why you've invested in yourself and being here. And whatever the goals are that you've set for yourself, and I hope you've raised the bar on yourself, I want you to multiply it 100-fold. I found that most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. I found that most people fail in life because they do what I did for most of my life, aim too low and hit. And many never aim at all. Now I want you to think about your social contribution. What will be different because you showed up? Horace Mann said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. One of the goals I have is reduce the number of women who die from breast cancer. My mother was a 22-year breast cancer conqueror. How many men over 40? Raise your hands, please. Men over 40, very good. One of the goals every time I speak, I encourage men to get their PSA test, which stands for prostate-specific antigen, and their digital rectal examination. And I'll be glad and they can check our prostate by looking in our ears. You know, it's got to be a better way. I'm turning red as I talk about it, but you can't see it. A friend of mine was at a medical convention. Hey, Les, let me give you a free rectal. I said, no, buddy, you too motivated.